What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9BS Chapter 210. Be reasonable advertisement at this time. The eight-tailed bull ghost was so scared that he never dared to scream anymore, trembling all over. No way, when I grabbed it with 1,000 hands dozens of years ago, I never used such an ultimate trick. You should know that when catching eight-tailed bull ghosts, at most, it was just to use a technique of the level of wood dragon technique. However, despite the level of ninjutsu, the eight-tailed bull ghost felt that now with Karabi as a good partner, he was completely able to break up with each other. It wasn't until this time that it realized how wrong it was. Unfortunately, the current deterrence of the really thousands of hands on top of the Buddha is too strong compared to before. It just made an appearance just now, this hasn't been done yet, and this has almost completely defeated the psychological line of defense that Yun Ren endured. At this moment, Qin Yu was directly standing on top of the Buddha statue, looking down at Yun Ren and the crowd. Qin Yu looked at the group of people below indifferently and said indifferently, "How about, Lord Ruiyang and Ba. You won't be scared to be stupid. Where did your previous bold words go? Haven't you all said that you will put me to death?" The fourth generation of Hokage, who had been so scared to act, heard this, and immediately furiously slammed at the aloof Qin Yu. B*******D. However, before he could finish speaking, Qin Yu smiled at him, then directly controlled the big Buddha at his feet, and moved a little forward in the direction of the fourth generation of Lei Ying. Yes, it just moved one step. However, the huge volume of the Wa Buddha with thousands of hands on the spot directly caused the earth to shake on the spot, looking like an earthquake. Even Yunren village, a few miles away, was also affected at this moment. You know, Yunren's village has just been bombed by the tail beast Jade. Thanks to the efforts of many ninjas, the emotions of the people have finally been calmed down a bit. This shock immediately caused riots again. I saw countless people in the village, looking for the source of the shock at this moment. However, the true number of hands on the top of the Buddha is too big and too high. Soon, almost unreasonably, some sharp-eyed people will discover it. Soon, after this 1 past 10 or 10, all the people in Yunren village looked in that direction and were shocked at the same time. The huge Yunren village was immediately messed up at this time. Regardless of how everyone calms down, the people are rioting. After all, to say that the scale of the Buddha with thousands of hands topped it, even the ninja seemed incredible, let alone ordinary people. How can it be? When the fourth generation of Hokage saw Qin Yu, this was just a slight move, which caused the effect of shaking the mountain. The pupils suddenly shrank, and the whole person suddenly withered, and he no longer dared to be presumptuous. No way, the thing in front of me is really scary. It's just a movement of the footsteps and it's so loud, what would it be like if the 1,000 hands behind that hammer came at the same time? Thinking of this, the fourth generation of Hokage can't imagine it at this time. At this moment, Qin Yu looked at Eye of the 4 generations of Hokage with a smile on his face, and asked him with a smile on his face. "How about it, Lord Hokage? Can we come to make sense now?" Qin Yu's scene now looks so strange yet so familiar. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In fact, to be honest, this scene today is actually what Senjuzuma did in the past. Advertisement. You know, the ninja god back then used a wooden ninjutsu to transform into a big wooden man, and then used this big wooden man to hold the 9 tails in his hand like a chicken. After that, he said to Kyubi with a serious face, saying, "Kyubi, you are too dangerous, I want to seal you." Such a G wave of Sao operations was made from the hands of Senjuzuma back then. But now, the same G thing was done from Qin Yu's hands. This B***G thing. Sure enough, under Qin Yu's, obviously overwhelming people, but just said to be reasonable, the fourth generation of Hokage's Eye was even more angry. But at this moment, he was stunned that he did not dare to show any dissatisfaction again. He was very cautious at this time, for fear of offending the little master. If the young master is really unhappy, and if he is really forced to spur the big wooden Buddha, the consequences are really unimaginable. Therefore, at this time, he had to bite the bullet and put on a smile that was even more ugly than crying, and then looked at the aloof Qin Yu with a smile and said, "Yes. Of course." This sentence can be said to be almost squeezed out of his teeth. For so many years, whether internally or externally, he has never been so angry. Internally, Yunren village is not like Konoha, where the elders are bigger, and the power of the shadows is dispersed and restricted. In Yunren village, it was all in one word, and Lei Ying could be said to be saying what he said. Externally, Yunren has never been counseled, and even Konoha, who is known as the #1 village, dares to provoke one after another. What's even more exaggerated is that when he finished provoking Konoha Shinobu, he still dared to say something. It can be said that in the past 10 years, this Hokage of him has been a smooth wind, and he is proud of all kinds of spring breeze. But today this day can be said to be the most humiliating day in his life. This was first directly crushed by Qin Yu in terms of thunder ninjutsu and speed, which he was most proud of, and even after that, his Ruiyang office, a symbolic building in Yunren village, was bombed. At this time now, it is even more straightforward to be put on the neck with a knife to make sense. It can be said that today is really the most embarrassing day of the 4 generations of Hokage. It can be said that it has never happened before. As for whether it will be like this in the future, who knows? At this moment, Qin Yu spoke again, and saw that he opened his mouth to the fourth generation of Raikage with a joking expression. I have been in this land of thunder for several days, how come I seem to hear that? Yunnan village seems to be the first ninja village. Amount. When the fourth generation of Raikage heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched. You know, over the years, as Yunnan village has become stronger and stronger, such rumors have indeed become more and more. It can even be said that this kind of rumors can spread so widely. Behind him, there must be Lei Ying's help from the Raikage office. But at this time, the fourth generation of Raikage never dared to say this again. The author interrupts. I'm sorry, friends, readers, during this period of time because of something in the author's family, so I can only update daily during this period. I'm really embarrassed everyone, but as long as I have time, I'm sure it will be the first time everyone, please tell me again, sorry. This is not just due to Qin Yu's personal pressure. You must know the entire Yunren, but he was directly shocked by Konoha imp that he didn't dare to move. If he said these words again, it would be like pulling his own face. Chapter 211. One by one advertisement. Thinking of this, the fourth generation of Raikage directly raised a smiling face that was even worse than crying. He shook his head like a rattle, and quickly said to Qin Yu negatively, no, nothing, absolutely nothing. The number one ninja village in the ninja world. Since the beginning of the ninja era, it has always been Konoha Ninja Village. This has never changed. Hearing I, who is the fourth generation Raikage of Yunren village, said this, Qin Yu felt very happy for some reason. Seeing a person who was so arrogant in the past, now these three things with his head down and talking, it really feels crooked. It turns out that reasoning is such an interesting thing. If the fourth generation of Lei Ying knew what Qin Yu was thinking about now, he might be able to excite himself to death by himself. Although Qin Yu was a little bit crooked in his heart, he was still very plain on the surface, and said to the fourth generation of Lei Ying without excessive emotional expression. Oh, that's it. At this moment, Qin Yu suddenly rolled his eyes, and immediately remembered something, and continued to question the next four generations of Riking I. By the way, I also heard that 10 years ago, Konoha's Hyuga clan killed Yunren's messenger for no reason? Hearing that, the expression of the fourth generation of Raikage was suddenly suffocated, and then he said uncleanly, yes, that's it. Hearing this, Qin Yu didn't say much. He narrowed his eyes slightly, staring at the fourth generation of Lei Ying I and asked again. Oh, is this really the case? Boom. At this moment, the big wooden Buddha at Qin Yu's feet suddenly moved again. And with the movement of his feet, the ground shook for a while. The four generations of Raikage felt the shaking of the ground on the ground, and suddenly his pupils suddenly shrank again, and then hurriedly said to Qin Yu. No, it's not like this. Qin Yu didn't move anymore, but instead glanced at him directly, and asked faintly at the fourth generation of Lei Ying. Then I'm going to ask Master Lei Ying, what's the truth? The fourth generation of Raikage swallowed his saliva, and immediately said honestly, the fact is, Yunren suffered a lot from the white eyes of the Hyuga clan on the battlefield, and so, Qin Yu raised his eyebrows and asked again. At this time, the four generations of Raikage didn't seem to be concealing anymore, he just confided in his heart, and then said frankly. Yun had no choice but to take the opportunity of peace talks to obtain a pair of white eyes, but in the end things came to light. So I had no choice but to give it a rake. At this moment, the previous incident of Konoha's white eyes was directly rehabilitated by Qin Yu. Although this was something he did because of his sudden interest, he also unwittingly rehabilitated Konoha's Hyuga family. But even though it was rehabilitated for the Hyuga family, at this time, the fourth generation Raikage was still talking about it. This is a last resort, it's a show. This is said to be a show, but to be honest, the fundamental reason is that the beatings are not enough. Otherwise, forgive him for not saying that. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Advertisement. Qin Yu saw that the fourth generation Li Ying had confessed, so he pretended to have something serious. As I understood, I nodded to the fourth generation of Li Ying, and said with an awakened look, it turns out to be a last resort. Speaking of you, Yunren village is a last resort. It seems that it has been around for a long time, right? When Lei Ying heard the words at 4 o'clock, the corners of his mouth twitched again, pretending to be inexplicably incomprehensible, and questioned Qin Yu again. What do you mean? As early as 20 years ago, you were afraid that Konoha would grow bigger because of the existence of Qin Yu. So, as a last resort, oh no, it was a last resort to send someone into Konoha, and then kidnap the 9. Wei Renjuli, you said what I said, right? Did you have to do such a thing at the time? Qin Yu suddenly remembered this incident just now. This incident was 20 years ago. Was there no Naruto at that time? Okay, so Naruto hasn't produced it yet? And as the previous generation of human Julie of the tailed beast 9 tails, that is naturally the whirlpool of the whirlpool family of Bofeng Shuiman's wife. At that time, Uzumaki Kushina was taken away by Yunnan's ninja, and later this incident was discovered by Konoha's people. After that, the Bofeng Watergate was halfway down the road, and after solving the problem of Yunnan who had taken Kushina away, he brought him back to Konoha Shinobu village. And because of this incident, this wave of Feng Shui men and Uzumaki Kushina is getting better. It should be this thing, which contributed to the two people, this suddenly pulled far away. When Qin Yu said this matter just now, he deliberately said the words, as a last resort, and the black face of the fourth generation of Lei Ying turned red at this time. Even so, on the surface, he didn't dare to let go of the fart, but in my heart I could only bitterly want to curse. This kid, how can I know so many secrets? But at this moment, under Qin Yu's pressure, how dare he not answer this meeting? In desperation, the 4 generations of Hokage now had to grit his teeth and said directly to Qin Yu. Then. When that happened, I was still very young, so this matter has nothing to do with me. Oh, it has nothing to do with you. Qin Yu also nodded when he heard this. The 4th generation of Hokage did not make a mistake this time. After all, the Hokage who was in power at the time was the 3rd generation of Hokage in Yunren village. That will be the 3rd generation of Hokage, your B********* father. Oh, what a pity, but he was already dead, so I have to ask you to settle my account, but this account is not. If you count me, who should I count? You say yes. The 4th generation of Lei Ying Ai was directly speechless by Qin Yu. At this moment, Qin Yu didn't care about Ai's silent appearance as the 4th generation of Hokage. However, just at this moment, he saw his words turn, and he glanced diagonally again and brought up another matter. It seems to say that again, the things that Yunren village did to my Konoha ninja village seem to be a lot. If I remember correctly, our Konoha's 2nd generation Naruto Senjima, it seems, as a last resort, it was also killed by Yunren from your Yunren village, right? Suddenly, Qin Yu turned to this place. This seemed to be a show, and it was a show of stocks. Chapter 212. Treaty of Bereavement and Humiliation. Advertisement, what? This time the 4th generation of Hokage was truly and completely shocked, with an incredible expression on his face. No. During the peace talks, the 2nd generation of Hokage from Yunren village unfortunately died, and it was a traitor that emerged from Yunren village. It cannot be said that we deliberately killed him. The 2nd generation of Naruto. When Qin Yu heard this, a smile appeared on his face suddenly, and he said to the 4th generation of Hokage. Oh, so you admitted, the previous Hyuga clan incident and the 9-tailed Julie incident, are you Yunren village planning for a long time? For a moment, I of the 4th generation of Hokage was speechless. At this time, he felt that he had completely fallen into the pit that Qin Yu had dug. He really couldn't figure it out. What he said was the Hokage of Yunren village, but when faced with this Konoha kid, faced with his sharp word front, he didn't know how to answer. However, even though the 4 generations of Hokage had already looked at Qin Yu very highly, he still underestimated his irrational showmanship. At this moment, Qin Yu spoke again, and saw that he smiled at the 4th generation of Lei Ying and said, furthermore, you also said that the traitor belongs to your Yunren village, so this account is for me. If I don't want you to count, who shall I count on? Moreover, it was the 2nd generation Hokage who died at that time, and your father was the 3rd generation Hokage. As the so-called 2nd generation immortality, how can your father be in charge? Therefore, I have every reason to believe that the assassination in the peace talks was planned by your father, the 3rd generation of Hokage. At this moment, Qin Yu directly used a set of reasonable and logical analysis, directly analyzing everyone present in a foolish manner. No, it's just because Qin Yu's analysis is too reasonable, and it can be said to be very accurate. According to what Qin Yu said, as long as the people present think based on the train of thought he said, the more they listen, the more they will feel that this is the truth, and in the end, the more they will feel that this is the truth of the fact. As for what Qin Yu did now, it was mainly aimed at Yunren village deliberately. He wanted to take this opportunity to teach Yunren village a sufficient lesson at one time, striving to get it right once and for all, so that they can do things in the future. Qin Yu. Hearing that his father, the 3rd generation of Hokage, was slandered, the 4th generation of Hokage was completely angry at this time, and he gritted his teeth and said, "You are deceiving." Before he finished speaking, the wooden Buddha at Qin Yu's feet suddenly moved again, forcibly forcing the 4th generation of Lei Ying Ai to directly hold back the last 2 words, 2-2. Upon seeing this, Qin Yu was quite satisfied with the deterrent effect of the great Buddha. Then he jokingly asked the 4th generation Hokage again, "So, I said that the 2nd generation of Naruto master was killed by Yu Yunren. Do you have any questions?" When the 4th generation of Lei Ying heard the words, the complexion on his face suddenly became as black as the bottom of a pot. He gritted his teeth and squeezed out a few words from his teeth, and replied to Qin Yu, No problem." Good. Since there is no problem, so good. Qin Yu looked at the 4th generation Hokage, smiled at him and nodded, and continued. Since the Hyuga incident, the 9-tailed Julie incident, and the 2nd generation Hokage incident, Master Hokage has admitted, then next we should discuss compensation matters. The corners of the 4 generations of Lei Ying's mouth twitched crazily, and he knew that Qin Yu would not let Yunren-kun so easily, let alone himself. This is the first one. Yunren village must, in the name of Hokage, tell the truth about the 3 things to the world of shinobi, and apologize to Konoha village. Regarding Qin Yu's request, although the 4th generation of Hokage was a little dissatisfied, it did not happen. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, because for him, regardless of whether he admits it or not, apart from losing some face, it is basically a trivial matter. Advertisement. The past generations of Hokage are all materialism, focusing on the benefits of pragmatism. As for face, what is face? The most important thing? However, as soon as he heard Qin Yu's, number 1, he knew that things were far from simple. The second thing is, Yunnan village submitted the ancillary documents to me Konoha, just like the sands of the wind, and became Konoha's affiliated ninja village, permanently handing over the selection power of Jongnin, and going to Konoha on time to participate in the selection of Jongnin. The first requirement of Qin Yu just now was fine, but this second requirement was simply Hong Guoguo's disgrace treaty. The Yunan *****RS present were in an uproar. What, you want us to become Konoha's vassals? Do you want to give Konoha the right to select Zongren like the garbage Shan? Impossible, it is absolutely impossible. We Yunran-kun will never agree, and Master Lei Ying will definitely not agree. It's really unreasonable, this Konoha kid is too arrogant. It's just bullying too much, everyone in Yunran village has been fighting with him. Even these ordinary Yunran are so passionate, so you can imagine how angry the 4 generations of Raikage are at this time. You know, the past generations of Lei Ying are all ambitious generations. After decades of hard work, the 4th generation of him finally made great progress. And he has become more confident that he can lead Yunran to become the largest Shinin village. Unexpectedly, now, he was forced to become Konoha's affiliated Shinobu village. The gap between the two is like heaven and earth. However, Qin Yu's reaction to the changes in the field, I have not seen the same repeatedly, and continued to say, this is the third one. Starting this year, Yunran village will pay 1/3 of the annual task remuneration to Konoha. I have to say that Qin Yu's last treaty is simply a good fellow. It can be described as a real treaty of losing power and humiliating the country. As long as the 4 generations of Raiking sign this treaty, then he will definitely be nailed to the pillar of shame in history. If it was just a symbolic request to become an affiliated ninja village and surrender the selection power of ninja, then Yunran village's interests were completely touched this time. You know, the most important part of the income of a Shinobu village is task compensation. The operation of a large ninja village, especially the training of new generation ninjas, requires a huge amount of money. Qin Yu wanted to take away 1/3 of Yunren's reward for the task with this mouth. It was simply a draw from the bottom of the pan. It can be said that once this is implemented, it will almost completely cut off the path of Yunren's rise. After surrendering 1/3 of the reward, the remaining part, whether it can maintain the normal operation of Yunren is 2 things, let alone improve the strength of the ninja. Therefore, Yunren who was present was even more angry at this time. Chapter 213. Overwhelming with power. Advertisement. All the N******** ninjas, even if they were seriously injured at this time, were all trying to get up. B******* D stuff. It's really deceiving. Open your mouth and want 1/3 of Yunren village's pay? Let's help Konoha buy work? You are dreaming, Konoha's kid, you are dreaming. Yunren village will never compromise, let alone agree to it. A hole. A asterisk hole. A asterisk hole. At this time, the face of the 4th generation of Raikage is even harder to see the extreme. A pair of iron fists was even more tightly held by him at this time, and there was a rattling sound. However, Qin Yu hardly seemed to see Yunren's reaction. Or in other words, he completely ignored Yunren's reactions and asked them with a smile, after I have finished speaking, who agrees, who opposes? Suddenly, Qin Yu came directly with an obvious Blue Star style. However, because the level of Blue Star's poems is really too high, so this poem is placed in the Hokage world, and it is completely dimensional reduction strike. And the 4 generations of Raikage at this moment, his head is directly buzzing at this moment. It can be said that the 4th generation of Raikage at this time was really trembling with anger by Qin Yu's arrogant posture. But for the sake of the overall situation, he now has to work hard and endure. Regarding Qin Yu's decision and the new definition of mission compensation, all the N****** ninjas in Yunnan village were collectively angry at this time. Remuneration for their tasks is almost the same as killing them. I object. Maid. I also object. Labor and management absolutely disagree. I will never agree. A hole, you are too much, this kind of thing is absolutely impossible. Damn, we Yunren absolutely disagree. Yes, absolutely disagree. All of a sudden, the N***** ninjas of Yunnan village present were directly excited by the sentiments. Seeing this, Qin Yu just smiled and nodded at them, and then said very happily, Su Dai Sinai, I understand. When a group of N***** ninjas in Yunnan village saw this, they thought that their own group's struggle had finally taken effect, and all of them were rejoiced. However, for some reason, as the 4th generation of Raikage, at this moment, there was a chill for no reason. Although he didn't deal with Qin Yu for a long time, based on his years of experience, Qin Yu was definitely not such a good talker. This person is definitely a guy who does nothing to achieve his goals. Boom. Sure enough, at this moment, Qin Yu directly moved and shot directly. With a slight wave of his arm, the wooden Buddha at his feet suddenly moved. Moreover, it is not as simple as before to move and pretend. This time, Mu Dun's wooden Buddha is really hands-on. I saw Qianshu behind the Buddha, and 2 suddenly flew up at this moment. The 2 big wooden hands with strong power, at a speed that is almost spatially moving, directly traversed towards Yunren's N***** ninjas. When the 4th generation of Raikage saw this, his pupils suddenly shrank, and shouted, no. Boom. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The next moment, the location of the dozen or so Yunnan village ninjas who shouted, I oppose, or, I refuse, was hammered out of 2 huge pits. Advertisement inside that deep pit, it was already a blood-red color at this moment. And the dozens of Yunnan ninjas, at this moment, have disappeared. Obviously, these more than a dozen ninjas are directly dead. He quickly wiped out these clamoring guys, and the two giant wooden hands quickly took them back. And everything happens between the electric light and flint. Yun Ren, who was lucky enough to survive, only felt that a dozen of his companions had completely lost their vitality with a flash in front of him. An atmosphere of solemnity enveloped everyone present in an instant. At this moment, everyone swallowed unanimously, and their backs were completely wet with cold sweat at this moment. The 4 generations of Reikage and Karabi are the same as the ninjas of Yunren village, and they are no exception. After Qin Yu killed some people, he smiled again at this moment, and said to the people below, "Now what? Is there anyone opposed?" On the extremely silent field, only the sound of shaking his head passed. At this moment, no one dared to object anymore, and it could even be said that no one dared to ignore what Qin Yu said. Everyone was afraid that they would shake their heads slowly, and that terrifying fist would come down again. So horrible, it's horrible, whether it's speed or power, it's really terrifying. And the most terrifying thing is that the wooden Buddha just now only had 2 hands out. However, in fact, there are really thousands of hands behind it. You know, these 2 hands have caused such a terrifying destructive power. If 1,000 hands are used together, I am afraid that Yunren village will not be directly hammered. Qin Yu was still quite satisfied with his deterrent effect at this time, and saw that he said cheerfully to the 4th generation of Reikage. "So, Lord Reikage agreed?" The 4th generation of Lei Ying was trembling all over, almost crushing a pair of steel teeth in his mouth. From the gap between the teeth and through the gap, he squeezed out a few words very depressively. "Agree, yes it. That's right. It would be so good." When Qin Yu heard this, he just slapped his thigh, and immediately said sincerely to the 4th generation of Lei Ying, "I am the most reasonable person." If he was standing next to the 4th generation of Lei Ying now, he would definitely pat Lei Ying on the shoulder and make an expression of, "Little brother, you finally got the hang of it." Listening to Qin Yu's words of unawareness of shame, the 4 generations of Lei Ying's chest were ups and downs again. But facing the kind of treaty that humiliated the country, he endured it, and now it's not worth turning back to face this little thing. In fact, he really wasn't persuading him. You know, there is no word, counsel, in his life's dictionary. If he was Zaran alone today, let alone Qin Yu, he would never bow his head even if the 6 immortals descended. But now he can't afford it. He is the Reikage of Cloud Ninja village of Thunder Country. Standing behind him are countless subordinates, countless people in Yunren village. So at this moment, he can't get angry. Given his understanding of Qin Yu, one must not interpret this person from the perspective of a politician. Not to mention the bottom line of the Konoha kid in front of him. The person in front of him is a guy who can do anything. In Qin Yu's body, the 4 generations of Lei Ying did not see his calculations and games, compromises and concessions as a politician at all. All he could see was the complete overwhelming force. Chapter 214. Sao Operation Advertisement. Qin Yu's approach is really simple and very rude. Faced with such a simple and rude approach, although I is a Reikage, he is also extremely incomprehensible. In desperation and no choice at all, the poor 4th generation Reikage had no choice but to bow his head at this time. Since Reikage-sama agreed, do it immediately. The 3 conditions I mentioned, I want to see the effect immediately. Notice that the Yunren village document of Ninja World, the document attached to Konoha, and 1/3 of this year's task remuneration. I have always heard what happened to Reikage-sama's speed. If I want to come to such a simple 3 small things, I should be able to deal with it in half an hour, right? At this time, Qin Yu spoke the words that made the 4 generations of Lei Ying almost carry his breath in the calmest tone. What? Half an hour? After the 4th generation of Lei Ying heard what Qin Yu had said, he was immediately dumbfounded. He looked at Qin Yu and said, "I still have to rush back to Yunren village from here, and then rush back. And the wording, data, etc. So many things need to be carefully considered and accounted for. However, the most important thing is that my Reikage office was blown up by you. In the office, many important documents are lost. Anyway, half an hour is too much. In fact, to be honest, this is really not because he is complaining, nor is he deliberately delaying time. It's that the problems he said are truly and objectively existent. Even if he had a little thought of delaying time, when Qin Yu said the 3 words, half an hour, he completely buried the thought in his stomach. However, Qin Yu didn't want to give him time at all. I don't want to give him time to think about wording, sorting out, or falsifying data. After listening to the words of the 4 generations of Lei Ying, Qin Yu was not irritated at all, nor did he refute it. I saw him sitting directly on top of the Buddha with a big thorn, and then he waved his hand casually, and said to the 4 generations of Reikage below. The question raised by Reikage-sama, I fully understand, completely, understanding. However, at this moment, just as the 4th generation of Reikage's heart began to feel a little bit of relief, Qin Yu spoke again and said, "If this is the case, then I will wait here." What? For an instant, the 4th generation of Lei Ying suddenly thought whether he had heard it wrong. I saw that Qin Yu was looking at the 4 generations of Reikage with consideration at this time, and said to him very considerately, "Look, my visit this time has caused you Yunren village and Yunnan ninja. It's not a small loss. Maybe an enemy congress takes this opportunity to sneak and attack. I'm responsible for helping you guard here. Don't worry, with me and my big Buddha, no matter how many people come, I will help you kill them. Just concentrate on handling the 3 things just now. I will leave when you are done." God stepping on the horse to help Yunren village guard Yunren. The fourth generation of Lei Ying heard the words, almost backed it up in one breath, couldn't help but spit out frantically in his heart. And the hand Qin Yu was playing now suddenly came to mind with a flash of inspiration. You know, what Yunren of Yunren village is best at doing is not to reverse black and white. And what they like to do is to be a rogue. And the way Qin Yu is doing now is not the legendary way of ruling his body. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If you want to play a rogue, then you are even more rogue than you. If you want to point to black and white, then I will also reverse the black and white for you. Advertisement. As for why Qin Yu had to fix a time, there was a reason. You know that these politicians are all bad and ruthless. If you give them time, they promise to minimize the loss. As for the method used to reduce the loss, the first thing to use is the word game, account fraud, and so on. At that time, no one can say for sure. After understanding Qin Yu's meaning, the fourth generation of Lei Ying was even more furious. Obviously, what Qin Yu meant was that he had to wait until he got something to remove the Buddha. This was already a threat from Hong Guogo, but the fourth generation of Reiking had to accept his threat. But he also understood very clearly that you shouldn't even think about reasoning with a rogue like Qin Yu. Therefore, the fourth generation of Lei Ying turned into a flash of lightning without saying a word, and immediately rushed to Yunren village not far away. His speed is so fast that even his subordinates can't take care of him at this moment. At this time, he wanted to sort out what Qin Yu wanted as quickly as possible, and then hurriedly told him to leave Yunren village immediately. A group of ordinary Yunren ninjas, when they saw their Reikage adults were gone, they also helped each other, and then walked towards Yunren village in a very embarrassing manner. And the most important thing is, if he really has an idea to do damage, can Karabi and Yao be able to stop him? Qin Yu looked at the fourth generation of Lei Ying and said casually, this thing is useless for me, the wording is good, you Yunren just follow the above words, and notify the ninja world intact. Within 3 days, I want to hear. In his hand, he was still holding 2 papers and a passbook at this time. No problem. No one knows, at this time, he doesn't have any more thoughts about sabotage. He collected the documents attached to Konoha, and the passbook of millions of tales, and threw the first notice back to Reikage IV. Qin Yu looked at it casually, as expected. Based on the annual income of Konoha Ren village, Qin Yu immediately deduced the income of Yunren village, and found that it did not look like fraud. When the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard this, he clenched his fists, gritted his teeth and agreed. Okay. It's up to you. Now, can you go? Obviously, it is impossible to stop it. Qin Yu shrugged directly, then waved his big hand, and dispelled the Buddha statue under his feet. Don't worry, even if you ask me to stay here, I won't agree. Compared to Konoha, your Yunren village is nothing short of it. It's just too boring. In the field, only Karabi, the 8-tailed orc with pillar power, was still in place at this moment. I didn't see that after only 25 minutes, the fourth generation of Reikage had already rushed back out of breath. His purpose for doing this is also very simple, even if he is monitoring Qin Yu, let him not act rashly. In response, Qin Yu just chuckled, and then lay down directly on the head of the Buddha statue. As for the passbook, the large string of 0's on it also looks very reliable. In such a rush, Yunren village has no time to play tricks, and the documents are full of sincerity. Chapter 215. IQ is urgent. Advertisement. Oh, that's right. At this moment, Qin Yu on the side seemed to suddenly think of something at this moment. He suddenly slapped his head, and then said to Eye of the fourth generation of Reikage, there's one more thing. Hurry, you hurry up and call both Zuli, I want to take them away. What? As the fourth generation Reikage, Aiden Time was surprised. He really didn't expect Qin Yu to have such a rude request. Immediately the whole person became vigilant, and then directly said to Qin Yu, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Look at you like that. Qin Yu glanced at him directly when he saw this, then said to him, I am doing this for your Yunren good. The goal of the Akatsuki organization is to gather all the tail beasts. You should also know that. The man behind the organization, I played against him, although he can't match me, but you can't handle it. Quote. Although Qin Yu said the truth, but I don't know why, it feels like a shameless feeling. Although Qin Yu is shameless like this, there is a reason why he did it. One of the reasons for this is to protect the safety of this person Zuli, so that he can avoid Akatsuki's poisonous hands. As for the other reason, he knew that Yao was a perfect level person Zuli, and he took it back to the village, just taking this opportunity to teach the hot-blooded little fox Naruto to control the 9 tails earlier. What did you say? The fourth generation of Lei Ying was directly surprised by Qin Yu's words. Obviously, he really did not expect that Qin Yu would have such a high evaluation of the so-called behind the Shao organization. However, at the next moment, he saw his face suddenly change wildly, and then he said in shock, no. Okay. Seeing the appearance of the fourth generation of Lei Ying, Qin Yu's brows were directly frowned, and then he asked, you don't mean to tell me that Erwei Ren Zuli is not in the village, right? As Qin Yu's question was raised, Karabi's expression on the side also froze directly. After that, Karabi murmured directly, it seems that it has been a week since the Mu Ren went out of the village to perform the task. The 4 generations of Reikage's eye finally reacted, and immediately slapped his thigh and exclaimed, oh, this is awful, I was careless. Originally, He didn't take Xiao organization seriously, otherwise, when Feng Yinggara wanted to hold the Five Shadows conference, he would not refuse. This guy is exactly the same as in the original book. He has always had a temper with no coffin and no tears. In the original book, Kurabi was attacked, and he mistakenly thought that Kurabi was captured by the Akatsuki organization and convened the Five Shadows conference. Now that the wooden man had left the village for a long time and had not returned, combined with what Qin Yu had just said, at this moment, deep worries arose in his heart. According to what Kurabi said earlier, Qin Yu's mind was thinking. Qin Yu's brows wrinkled slightly. To know the information he had, it was much more than others. Others may still be skeptical, but he is almost certain now that these two-tailed people Zuli's Yugi is definitely cold. You should know that in the original work, Yumu Neo was captured by the undead duo. Now that the corners and flying sections are already cold, but judging from the act of taking the soil outrageously to capture the eyes of Nagato's reincarnation, he definitely wants to speed up the progress of the eyes of the moon. With Ju's information investigation ability, coupled with the mysterious and unpredictable spatial attainments of the Earth, I am afraid that Yumu was arrested just after leaving the village of Yunnan. Thinking of this, Qin Yu squinted at Kai Guguo's 4 generations of Lei Ying, and then said directly and bluntly, I'm really worried about your IQ, goodbye. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After speaking, Qin Yu turned around and left. Advertisement. Seeing that Qin Yu was about to turn around and leave, the 4th generation of Lei Ying hurriedly stopped him, and saw that he stopped directly at Qin Yu. Wait a minute. Qin Yu heard this, with an impatient expression on his face, and then asked directly to the 4th generation of Raikage, what else? Is it because you want me to stay in your Yunran for a few more days? No. That's not what I meant. When the 4th generation Lei Ying heard this, he denied it immediately, and his head was shaking like a rattle at this time. Qin Yu glanced at him directly, and then asked indifferently, so? That. At this time, the 4 generations of Raikage, who had been resolute in speaking and doing things, suddenly became twitched this time. I only saw him ponder for a long time, his face full of entanglement, and finally he squeezed out a word. Can you take my brother Kurabi away? Although the 4th generation of Raikage hated Qin Yu, he was still very convinced of Qin Yu's strength. For the safety of the ninja world and to better protect his brothers, he decided to temporarily put down his grievances. Even if it was for this, he gave up his old face and took the initiative to ask Qin Yu. Before the change, he would definitely not do this when he was full of confidence. In his heart, can there be someone better than himself in the ninja world? Can there be a safer place than Yunran? But now, he had been beaten sober, and Qin Yu was beaten to sober. What? Kirabi felt a little dazed when he heard what his elder brother said. I saw him looking at the 4th generation of Raikage, and then asked, Big brother, do you want me? Birth. The 4th generation of Lei Ying patted his brother's shoulder heavily, and a touch of weakness and reluctance flashed in the tiger's eyes. Big brother is incompetent, but don't be sad, I will definitely. No, this time it was Kirabi's turn to shake his head like a rattle. I saw him facing his elder brother, and the 4th generation of Raikage I said, Big brother, you may have misunderstood. I am not sad at all. I am very happy to be able to go to Konoha to play. Baga. Hearing what Kurabi said, the 4th generation of Raikage suddenly furiously said, You be ********D. Faced with the request of the 4 generations of Lei Ying, Qin Yu simply responded to him with an expression of, You are teasing me or thinking of fart, and that was directly rejected on the spot. Do not, the 4th generation of Raikage was also a little dazed to see this. Didn't it say that Ren Zhuli is not safe in Yun? Especially now, the 2 tails have become more ill-fortuned, and the safety of the 8 tails is even more important. Although he asked for it on the initiative, he really couldn't figure out why Qin Yu would refuse. For him, isn't it just Ren Zhuli anyway? However, even with the shrewdness of the 4 generations of Riking, at this time, he was completely unable to think that there was a painful issue of gender and beauty involved. After all, Yuki Neo is a beautiful female ninja. Chapter 216. Get home from work. Advertisement. Just as the 4th generation of Riking I was at a loss, Qin Yu's eyes suddenly rolled. He suddenly looked at the 4th generation of Raikage with a smile on his face, and then said cheerfully, However, Master Raikage must entrust Ling brother to me for protection, it's not impossible. Oh, the 4th generation of Lei Ying heard this, and suddenly his eyes lit up. But seeing the expression of the 4th generation of Lei Ying, Qin Yu's eyes flashed a very treacherous look. When the 4th generation of Lei Ying handed over his initiative to Qin Yu, one thing was already doomed, and that was that he was about to be directly and ruthlessly given to him by Qin Yu. However, this also illustrates Qin Yu's shrewdness from the side. Although on the surface it was talking about righteousness, in fact it was for righteousness, but at the same time, he was also full of selfishness. Sure enough, Qin Yu smiled at the moment when Lei Ying gave the initiative. It was a tricky smile. I saw Qin Yu with a cheerful expression on his face and smiled at the 4th generation of Lei Ying and said, Lei Ying-sama asks for a request. Of course I can't refute your face. But, should we talk about this commission fee? What the hell? The 4th generation of Lei Ying heard this, and immediately the corners of his mouth twitched wildly, and said slightly bitterly, Consignment fee? Until this time, the 4th generation of Raikage felt that he could no longer look directly at Qin Yu in front of him. How arrogant this kid was when he was fighting. It can be said that it is basically the attitude of, The boss is the second child. Those mouthfuls of trash and trash made his chest hurt even more directly. But now it's fine, it's just a bite of Master Rakage, and you. Hearing the 4 generations of Rakage felt uncomfortable in his heart. For some reason, these titles were heard in the ears of the 4th generation of Lei Ying, and he suddenly missed the waste, garbage, before. To be honest, it is not that he is cheap, but that Yun Renkun's bleeding is really serious this time. Of course. Qin Yu nodded unexpectedly, and continued to face the 4th generation of Lei Ying. These 8-tailed people, plus an 8-tailed force, are important strategic materials for your Yunren village. Your Rakage-sama entrusted us Konoha Shinobu village. Ahem. Wait, no, it's not Konoha Shinobu village. I am entrusted to protect it. Isn't it possible to pay commission fees? The 4th generation of Rakage heard that the corners of his mouth were frantically twitching, and he cursed secretly in his heart. Mad. This be ******* D kid. Although cursing secretly in his heart, he did not dare to show any dissatisfaction on his face at this time. Not to mention that there is still a need to ask others, so he rushed to the power of the big Buddha before, and he did not dare to offend Qin Yu at all. At the moment, he had to work hard to squeeze a smile that was even ugly than crying, and then said to Qin Yu in a directly negotiating tone. Qin Yu, you just make a price. Seeing the 4 generations of Rakage so well behaved and so cooperative, Qin Yu felt happy. Well, commission fee. After Qin Yu pretended to indulge for a while, he slowly said to the 4th generation of Lei Ying. Just add 1/3 of the finances. Yao and Renjuli are extremely important for your Yunren village. Strategic materials for you. Master Rakage, don't you think it's not worth the price, do you? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Qin Yu's opening was another third of the finances, giving people the feeling that Yunren was about to be dissolved. Advertisement, and this is not nonsense, but genuinely true. After all, Yunren village is also a big forbearance village, daily operation, all kinds of expenses are very large, and the annual financial income is almost no surplus. Qin Yu's 1/3 and then 1/3, that directly killed the 4th generation of Lei Ying's life. It's 3 again. Sure enough, after hearing Qin Yu's offer, the 4th generation of Lei Ying's face was green on the spot, and his brain was buzzing. He had already taken out 1/3 before, and it could be said that for them Yunrenkun, that was almost reached the limit. It is conceivable that in the coming year, everyone will have to tighten their belts to live. If this takes another third, which is equivalent to taking away 2/3 of the total finances, then Yunren village can announce its dissolution on the spot. The end is no better than Qin Yu's direct use of the Buddha to destroy him. Just when he wanted to explicitly refuse, Qin Yu also seemed to see the state of rejection of the 4th generation of Lei Ying, and immediately realized it after thinking about it. It turned out that he was asking for a high price. After figuring it out, Qin Yu suddenly opened his mouth again and said to the 4th generation of Lei Ying, "But, this young master also knows that Yunren village is under a lot of pressure this time, so I should be considerate of you and do less. Adding 1/3 of the amount just now, giving me a total of half, isn't that excessive? If you don't agree, then pull it down." No. The 4th generation of Lei Ying instinctively wanted to refuse again, but he was keenly aware of the faint threat in Qin Yu's last words. At the same time, Qin Yu's horror came to his mind again, and he hesitated for a moment. A total of half. If you bite your teeth, it's not unacceptable. Anyway, this money is not the same as the third to Konoha. That 1/3 is paid every year, Karabi's protection fee, as long as the behind the scenes of Akatsuki is resolved, there is no need to pay. For Karabi's safety. It's also worth it. Rao was based on the decisive disposition of the 4 generations of Riking, and at this time he also weighed in place for a long time. Qin Yu's methods are indeed relatively clever, and 1/2 of the fiscal revenue is also a very delicate figure. This number makes the 4 generations of Rakage extremely painful, but it is barely acceptable. Coupled with some of his threats, Rakage eventually gritted his teeth and agreed to this deal. The 4th generation of Rakage was under great pressure, and finally gritted his teeth and agreed, but Karabi next to him was different, and this one just wanted to play. The thought of leaving Yunren village and being able to leave his elder brother's control, especially the Konoha ninja village, the largest ninja village, he was very happy. Seeing his heartless brother, the 4th generation of Rai Ying kicked him viciously with anger, and then turned into a flash of lightning to go to Yunren village. After a while, he took another passbook, and the 4th generation Lei Ying tremblingly handed it to Qin Yu. This time, Qin Yu didn't even look at it, so he put the passbook into the ninja bag, and the action was so skillful that it made people feel distressed. After putting away a large sum of money, he then patted Lei Ying on the shoulder bashfully, as if he were parting from his old friends, and then turned away without any nostalgia. Chapter 217. Tsunade shocked advertisement this time. Yunren's visit to Yunren village had both established prestige and gained wealth, and he had gained a lot. He was in a good mood. Karabi, on the other hand, was happily preparing to do a rap song to bid farewell to his eldest brother. As a result, he was directly driven out by the 4 generations of Rakage, who was in a bad mood. When Qin Yu and Kirabi left Yunren village for Konoha Ninja village, they were thousands of miles away. The long-lost Osnake pill was carrying a pharmacist's pocket in a secret cave, following the masked man. Dato was meeting. The masks worn by the guides at this time have been updated. At this moment, his eyes are all exposed. 2 eyes, one of them is the eye of the chakra, and the other is the eye of the reincarnation. At this moment, listening to the plan spoken by Taito, the face of Dashimaru was full of shock. And while Oshimaru left, Urzuzi, who had been dormant for 3 years, also took the opportunity to smash out of Atonin village and formally leave Oshimaru. Urzuzi took his several subordinates who had already incited rebellion, and since then began to embark on the road of revenge. For a while, the seemingly peaceful ninja world was undercurrents. A terrifying storm is coming. Kurabi doesn't know how many years it has been, and how many years hasn't really left Yunren village. So on this road, it's just one look at the other. The emotion is called an abnormally high level, which can be said to be extremely joyful. Moreover, this person is a little familiar, and he just kept talking directly and constantly while holding Qin Yu. Although Qin Yu didn't really hate this 8-person Julie, but he really couldn't stand his powerful rap bombardment. In desperation, Qin Yu could only adopt one method in the end, and that was to threaten him. Qin Yu directly threatened Kurabi directly and said, "If you dare to force Lai, I will send you back to Yunren village directly." Then Kurabi silently shut up like a good boy. Up. In this way, it took a little half a month for the two of them to finally rush back to Konoha Shinobu village. As for Kurabi, who first saw the legendary, first ninja village in the ninja world, he became very excited at this time. Although Yunren village has been developing well over the years, compared with the bustling Konoha village, the difference between the two is more than one grade. You know, the Land of Fire is located in the center of the entire ninja world, occupying the most fertile land, and it also has the largest territory and the widest population. Its true background, it can be said that it is directly far superior to the other 4 ninja villages. If Qin Yu hadn't directly pulled this item and had to go to see Tsunade, the Naruto side, it is estimated that Kurabi had already rushed directly into Konoha Street to have fun. In fact, Tsunade had already received the news in the past half a month. The official documents issued by the Raikage office directly informed the shinobi world. He expressed his solemn apology for the incident of Hyuga Hirsari, and his attitude can be said to be quite sincere. At that time, it directly caused an uproar in the ninja world. Since that time, Tsunade knew that it must be the kid Qin Yu who had done something in Yunren village again, which made the 4th generation Raikage willingly bow his head and admit his mistake. However, when she was in the Naruto office, looking at the Yunringi attached documents, and a very powerful silver passbook in front of her, Tsunade, who was the 5th generation of Naruto, was directly stunned. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If you know whether you admit one's mistakes or not, it's just a matter of face. Advertisement, but these things in front of my eyes are really profitable. She never thought that Qin Yu was so capable that it could be said to be super double. You must know that her original intention was to remind Riking to face Akatsuki's problem squarely. However, it is not good now. Qin Yu directly nationalized Yunren village directly. Not only that, but the 4th generation of Raikage's younger brother, the 8-tailed rabbi of Yunnan village, was abducted to Konoha ninja village. Such a great feat, even her grandfather and second grandfather had never done it. Tsunade had had a lot of dealings with the 4th generation of Raikage before, and he knew exactly how overbearing and difficult it was. Therefore, she knows how rare it is that Qin Yu can do this. After a long time, Tsunade murmured, "Boy, how did you make the 4th generation Raikage compromise?" "Well, it's nothing." Qin Yu waved his hand directly, and immediately explained nonsense to Tsunade in a very relaxed manner. Lei Ying-sama is not as domineering as the rumors. I think he is very talkative. I suggest letting him go and mix with Naruto. They are both human beings. I want to have a lot of common language. In addition, the kid is also relatively lonely. This one is a playful temperament. At this time, Qin Yu clapped his hands directly, and then said to Tsunade, "The problem of Yunnan village has been solved, and the goods will be handed over to Master Naruto. Look at the arrangements." Thinking of it after more than half a month, he still felt a little creepy. Kurabi was so witty, he nodded and said, "Yes, that's what you think." HMPH. Seeing this, Tsunade sneered directly, and joked to Qin Yu directly. "You are in such a hurry to find your girlfriends?" Tsunade rolled his eyes abruptly at Qin Yu, and his every move exuded all kinds of amorous feelings. "All right." Qin Yu shrugged and replied, "It's that simple." Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Big Buddha. Tsunade frowned when he heard the words, and then he seemed to think of something. A small mouth suddenly opened wide, and he muttered, "Could it be that?" Even so, he bitterly echoed Qin Yu's words and said, "It's a friendly communication, it's just that this B********* D is communicating on the Buddha." However, Kurabi, who was beside him, rolled his eyes directly and angry at this time. In an instant, the legendary grandfather's 1st generation Naruto Senjutsu's technique appeared in her mind. "It's that simple?" Tsunade didn't believe it, and asked Qin Yu suspiciously. What Qin Yu said nonsense. It can be said that his face is not red and breathless, and the fact is that it is exactly like this. Fortunately, the 4th generation of Raikage is not there. If the 4th generation of Raikage is here now, and hearing Qin Yu's words, it is estimated that he would cry out with anger. Although Qin Yu didn't explicitly tell Kurabi to teach Naruto to control Kyuubi, Tsunade was so smart that he instantly understood what he meant, and immediately agreed happily. "Well, in that case, I'll withdraw first." Qin Yu nodded, and immediately decided to fart share to leave. After I had a friendly exchange with him, he decisively agreed to the conditions I proposed. Chapter 218. The only use of flying thunder advertisement. Karabi next to him heard the words and stood up excitedly on the spot, and then said loudly, "What the hell? Girlfriends, you." He looked at Qin Yu wryly. The gossip fire in his heart was burning at this time. Qin Yu just rolled his eyes anger, and said to Mute, "Sister Mute, you take this guy to find Naruto first." "Oh, okay." Silent nodded. However, Karabi directly opposed it on the spot, yelling, "No, wait, I still want to." "You want to fart?" Qin Yu gave him an angry look, then immediately said threateningly, "Is the skin itchy again?" Ahem. Seeing Qin Yu's stare, Karabi immediately shrank his neck in fright, and said, "Now go, now go." In his mind, Qin Yu's degree of danger has long replaced his elder brother and became the well-deserved NO1. After Karabi left, Qin Yu spread his hand directly and said to Tsunade, "Let's talk, what else is there?" Tsunade narrowed his beautiful eyes, put away his joke, and the expression on his face suddenly became serious. "There is indeed a very important thing that needs you to go," Tsunade said in a deep voice. Jilai also sent back news that the kid from Uchiha's family who was on the same team with you before was the one who took refuge in Odoshimaru. Recently, it seems to have left a Tonin village and is going to trouble Uchiha Itachi. You should also know about Uchiha Itachi. He is a hard-failed child and has made great contributions to Konoha and the ninja world. Jilai also emphasized that much of his information about Akatsuki's organization was actually passed to him by Uchiha Itachi. "Well, what does this have to do with me?" When Qin Yu heard this, he shrugged once again, and said directly to Tsunade, "Since Jiraji feels owed to Uchiha Itachi, then let him go by himself, dignifiedly, and even the two weak chickens are not easy to catch. Well? Pull it down." Tsunade waved his hand directly, and said to Qin Yu angrily, "How is it that Uchiha Itachi is so friendly? Even the Sasuke who is in the same class as you is no longer in the same class now. It's the same. It is said that he has also opened the kaleidoscope to ride the wheel." "Huh?" Qin Yu raised his eyebrows immediately when he heard this, and said somewhat disbelievingly, "Can't it? Is the kaleidoscope so worthless now? Anyone can open a kaleidoscope?" What Qin Yu said was half truth and half false, just like Urzuzi's talent, so erratic. Do you say he is weak in talent? If he was weak in talent, Urzuzi could cultivate the speed that Lee Rock had cultivated for many years in 1 month, and later became the only ninja who opened the eternal kaleidoscope after Uchiha Madara. Obviously, he could not be said to be weak in talent. But you want to say he is talented? Compared with the Itachi and Bam of the same race, they were simply pressed on the ground and rubbed strongly. As for the fact that Sasuke opened the kaleidoscope in advance, Qin Yu himself didn't really doubt it. After all, carrying half of ninja's luck, as Indra's reincarnation, this kind of unexpected surprise couldn't be more normal. Tsunade couldn't help but rolled his eyes at Qin Yu at this moment, and continued. "Please, Sasuke is a pure Uchiha mainstream bloodline? If I remember correctly, he is still Fudake's son, right? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Qin Yu spread his hands, and replied with a certainty. "It seems to be. He is the son of the patriarch. Why did I forget this? Advertisement, hey." Qin Yu nodded helplessly at Tsunade, and could only say to Tsunade very reluctantly, "Then I'll go there." "Yeah." Tsunade nodded in satisfaction at this time. But, at this time, Qin Yu suddenly smiled, and immediately asked Tsunade to ask, "Since it's Jiraiya, the B********* D is making trouble for me. I too you can't let him collect materials from Konoha every day, let him come with me." Hearing this, Tsunade shook his head helplessly, looked at Qin Yu helplessly, and said, "You too. Do your best, take him away, so that he won't make trouble in Konoha." After half a minute, seeing that Qin Yu hadn't left yet, Tsunade suddenly became a little puzzled. Following Qin Yu's question, "Huh? Why are you still not leaving?" Qin Yu raised his eyebrows directly and smiled at the master. "Master Hokage, have you forgotten something?" "Forgot what?" Hearing Qin Yu's words, Tsunade was a little unsure of the time. But when he saw Qin Yu's smirk and aggressive gaze, her body trembled and she immediately realized the danger. 2 seconds later, Qin Yu walked towards Jiraiya's mansion contentedly. In the Hokage office, there was a loud noise at this time, and the whole building seemed to sway a few times. Just settling in, curious about the rabbi who rushed to silence near the office, after hearing this familiar voice, he suddenly shook his head helplessly. This guy, he still can't change his habit before leaving. How many desks in the Hokage office have been changed over the years? Obviously, when Qin Yu left just now, it was another attack with the old rules, and then he used Fei Lei Shen to escape again. Poor Fei Lei Shen ninjutsu, in Qin Yu's hands, the only use is to hide Tsunade's weird fist. However, Qin Yu is still very satisfied with the old rules this time. After all, the old rules before were only doing things outside, and this time, it is a breakthrough improvement directly. That is, this time, Qin Yu directly reached in with his hand, and felt that it was completely different. And all of this, it has to be said that all of them are due to their own strength should be stronger. At this moment, Qin Yu had already arrived at the mansion of Jiraiya. This old guy had just collected information outside for a long time and had just returned to Konoha and was about to go out for the great cause of collecting materials. Qin Yu directly told him that he was going out again, and he protested on the spot. After Qin Yu gave him a friendly education, Zilai had to follow behind with a bitter expression. Qin Yu blew his fist, and asked Zilai, Where is the place agreed upon by the two brothers? Jilai also rubbed his head with a headache and said to Qin Yu, it looks like Uchiha's ancestral land, but it's not too far away. Shuga. Qin Yu nodded and said, lead the way. Huh? Jilai was also taken aback. The corner of Qin Yu's mouth twitched, and then he also asked Jilai, why? You don't want to tell me, you don't know how to go, do you? Jilai immediately spread his hands and said, I don't know. Fact. Qin Yu said directly, Chapter 219, Meet. Advertisement. Jilai also continued to scratch his head, and asked Qin Yu, so what's the matter? Upon hearing this, Qin Yu also directly tentatively said to Jilai, why, throw your shoes. Reliable. Jilai also nodded with deep approval, and then really started to take off his shoes. Damn. Kakashi suddenly rushed to the two of them with a secret curse. Kakashi was passing by and wanted to say hello, but when he saw the two of them doing G things there, he had to curse and show them the way. You two goods, one is not more reliable than the other. Kakashi pointed in one direction, and said to the two of them, Uchiha's ancestral land is Suga. Aligadwo. After speaking, Qin Yu and Jilai also hurriedly left. This time the two did not dare to neglect, they rushed to Uchiha's ancestral land along the way. In the opposite direction to Qin Yu, Urzuzi, who had been missing for 3 years, now looked indifferent and rushed towards Uchiha's ancestor land. At this time, Uchiha Itachi was already sitting on the stone seat in Uchiha's ancestor land. You must know that if a shadow-level powerhouse really rushes, the speed is still quite fast. Maybe it's really a coincidence, or maybe it's a certain number in the dark. In the end, 3 figures landed at the same time from 2 directions. For a time, 5 figures confronted each other in 3 directions. The 5 figures are Uchiha Qin-Yu, Jiraiya, Uchiha Itachi, Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark, and Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha's ancestral land, which has long been dilapidated, has not been so lively for many years. And this was 3 years, and the two brothers Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke finally met again. Seeing Qin Yu and Jiraiya's arrival, Uchiha's calm and indifferent face raised his eyebrows only slightly. Although he was a little surprised by the arrival of the two, there was not much reaction. As for the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark standing behind Uchiha Itachi, the reaction at this time was greater. I saw the face of this fearless shark, and at the moment when I saw Qin Yu suddenly, that tall body was trembling unconsciously. Especially the right hand holding the broadsword, at this time can be said to be trembling the most. I really want to describe, at this time, he is a Parkinson-late patient. He was transformed into the first Qin Yu blow in the Shao organization, and now he saw Qin Yu face to face again. Naturally, he was frightened. Although the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark was afraid, Qin Yu was not at all polite to him. Qin Yu looked at the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark and asked straightforwardly, Hey, Shark Face, the things here have nothing to do with you. Do you go by yourself, or am I sending you? With his current strength and equipment at the level of a ghost shark, he didn't even bother to kill. Dry Persimmon Ghost Shark didn't expect Qin Yu to target himself as soon as he appeared, and unconsciously took a step back. The ugly shark face on his face became even more distorted at this time. In fact, he didn't want to interfere with the two brothers, but the big man behind him, Uchiha Madara, ordered him to come here and gave him a secret mission. Therefore, he is now in an extremely embarrassing situation. To stay, that is to rebel against Qin Yu's will. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. To run away, that is to disobey Uchiha Madara's command. Advertisement. It happened that these two people were the two people he feared the most. Moreover, the arrival of Qin Yu, the killing god, made him a little worried about Uchiha Itachi's safety. Oh, Qin Yu raised his brow and then prepared to do it. At this moment, Uchiha Itachi, who had never spoken, suddenly said to the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark, Ghost Shark, you should leave first. Upon hearing the words, the ghost shark's face changed immediately, and he asked Uchiha Itachi, Itachi, but you. It's not in the way. Uchiha Itachi waved his hand, and said to the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark again, you go first. Then, okay, be careful yourself. Giyu was already confused and didn't have any ideas. Now that Uchiha Itachi pointed the way to himself, he didn't want to struggle anymore. Just when he wanted to turn around and leave, Qin Yu suddenly said to him, wait a minute. The Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark was struck by lightning in an instant, and the threat of death instantly enveloped his body. However, he had no idea of running away. The feet that had just stepped out immediately returned, not daring to cross the thunder pond for half a step. The ghost shark turned around mechanically and swallowed fiercely. Looking at Qin Yu, the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark asked in a deep voice, I don't know what else Master Qin Yu has instructed. I can't talk about instructions. Qin Yu directly waved his hand and said to the Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark, I have a few words, please listen carefully. Hearing this, the ghost finally breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't dare to neglect the slightest, and then replied respectfully, yes, please say, Master Qin Yu. Haha. Qin Yu smiled directly when he heard the words, and then said, you can be considered a pitiful person, and you don't even know that you are being played around. Your master, the masked man, is actually just a thief, and I can tell you clearly that he is not Uchiha Madara at all. And the strength is also very difficult to say. A few months ago I was beaten and fled in Wuyin, and I still dare not show up. His so-called great cause of peace is just a joke in my eyes. With me, Qin Yu, he is destined to be a clown. Giyu was stunned by what Qin Yu said, and said in shock, Nani? He is not, it's impossible. Haha. Qin Yu sneered, and then continued to say to the dried persimmon ghost shark. Believe it or not is your problem, you are also a smart person, think about it for yourself. I don't mean to force you, you are not worthy of me, do that. If you still decide to continue following him, then bring him a word for me. No matter what plots and tricks he has, I am always welcome. If you decide to go back, I can also give you a chance to return to your misty shadow with my young master's token. Terumi will find a way to arrange for you. As he said, he threw a jade pendant to the ghost shark. In the crystal clear jade pendant, there is an extremely hidden mark of the god of thunder. The ghost shark caught the pendant and fell into a sluggish state. The amount of information Qin Yu brought to him today is so great that even with his wisdom, he still feels his scalp numb. Qin Yu waved his hand impatiently, and said again to the dried persimmon ghost shark. Okay, go away, it doesn't matter what you decide, I won't kill you today. Upon hearing the words, the ghost shark hurriedly put the pendant away, as if he were treating it life-saving straw, and then disappeared in place. Chapter 220. As always advertisement he had never thought about whether this pendant would entrap him, because he felt unworthy. In his opinion, if Qin Yu really wanted to deal with him, it would be so troublesome. The fact is indeed the case, it was never him that Qin Yu wanted to deal with. After the dried persimmon ghost shark left, there was another person's body trembling slightly, and that was the second pillar that had never made a sound. He followed the Oshmaru for 3 years, experienced extremely rigorous training and extremely bloody slaughter, and finally had the ability to do it all. All he did was kill his brother, and stepping on Qin Yu's old enemy. But now, these two opponents appeared in front of him at the same time. After 3 years of hard work on the two pillars, there is no fear at all. At this time, he was only deeply excited, but now, these two opponents appeared in front of him at the same time. After 3 years of hard work on the two pillars, there is no fear at all, but only the deep excitement. Ha ha ha. Because of the extreme excitement, Sasuke's mouth even sent out an extremely depressive and extremely deep sneer. Seeing Sasuke doing this, Qin Yu said with emotion in his heart. As expected, this is a problem child like the original book. However, at the next moment, Sasuke suddenly coldly said to the two of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Qin Yu in front of him, since the useless Chuck has gone away, it is time to end our grievances. Good guy. This dried persimmon ghost shark turned out to be in Sasuke's eyes. Regarding pretense, it seems that you still have to look at the second pillar. Qin Yu only smiled when he saw this, and then directly asked Sasuke. Yes, then tell me, how are you going to solve it? Are you going to solve the two of Itachi Uchiha and I at once? Or is it to add Jiraiya to solve the three of us directly at once? Sasuke flushed with Qin Yu's words, although he now feels quite good about himself, his self-confidence is overwhelming. But if you say that he is one enemy 2, or even one enemy 3, it is pure nonsense. He is just proud, not stupid. With regard to Qin Yu's Sao operation, Ji Lai had already taken offense and didn't care at all. He had made up his mind a long time ago, and this time he came here entirely with the mentality of watching the fun. Fighting gods do not need him to act. And Uchiha Itachi, who was sitting at the top, looked inexplicable at this time, not knowing what he was thinking, and also did not speak. Humph. Sasuke struggled for a long time, and in the end he just snorted and said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu. You and I are from the same race anyway, plus a match on the same team. Although there is grudge, but no hatred. So between you and me you only need to divide the winners and losers, you don't have to see life and death. But I am different from Uchiha Itachi. I have blood and deep enmity with him, I have to kill him, in honor of the dead people of my Uchiha clan. And don't forget, you are also a member of Uchiha's tribe. If a tribe member is killed, you also have the responsibility and obligation to kill him and avenge the dead tribe. Furthermore, Uchiha Itachi is Konoha's S-rank rebel, I will kill him, and it will benefit Konoha without any harm. So, you don't want to stop me, wait for me kill Uchiha Itachi, and then fight with you. I originally thought that these two pillars would be like a second fool, just 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, but I never thought that this guy still had a little bit of sane, and didn't really want to be 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But having said that, just because of him, Uchiha Sasuke wants 1 to 2? Advertisement just ask the 3 people present, which one can he beat? Faced with Urzuzi's sensible proposal, Qin Yu raised his eyebrows directly, and then followed him jokingly. If I say no? Nani? Seeing Qin Yu's direct refusal so decisively, Sasuke's expression suddenly changed. He thought that what he said just now was completely reasonable, and he even thought about Konoha very much. However, he never expected that Qin Yu would still refuse. Moreover, his refusal attitude is very frivolous. Sasuke's heart became annoyed for a while, and he cursed in his heart. This be asterisk 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 D. He and Qin Yu are both people of the same race, classmates, and in the end they were former teammates, and they still know them quite well. It would be totally unreasonable to know that this person is a rogue. However, the enemies of Uchiha's clan were right in front of him, and he still didn't want to offend Qin Yu first. In desperation, Sasuke had no choice but to suppress his anger, and said to Qin Yu in a compelling way. As long as I can kill Uchiha Itachi, even if you return to Konoha, Now, you don't want to stop me. Ha ha. Qin Yu laughed directly on the spot when he heard the words, then smiled at Sasuke and said, "It seems that you still haven't figured out the current situation, Sasuke. Since I am here, what happens here today is destined to be controlled by me. If I don't let him die, you can't kill him. If I want you to come back to Konoha with me, you can't resist." Suddenly, Qin Yu directly began to pretend to be invisible. And now what he pretends is the legendary, using the most plain tone, saying the most G things. However, if you want to pretend to be such a force, you need a prerequisite, that is, your own strength needs to reach the point of pushing everything horizontally. Otherwise, even if you pretend to be forced again, you will only be rubbed against the ground. So, don't show your tricks in front of me. You have no choice. The only option is the one I give you. From beginning to end, Qin Yu's tone was extremely calm, as if he was just telling a completely natural fact. However, in Sasuke's ears, it was very G. For an instant, the second young master of the Uchiha family, who was already full of confidence, was immediately furious. Okay, Qin Yu. You are really as arrogant as ever. Sasuke's face was full of conceited expressions at this time, as Qin Yu said bitterly, "I haven't seen you in 3 years, I'm already different." Isn't it? Qin Yu smiled noncommittally and continued. "Perhaps it is for others, but in my eyes, you are still the same as always, with the same dishes." Baga. Sasuke was full of anger for a while, and he broke the defense on the spot, and angrily rebuked. Time after time, trampling on my noble dignity, unforgivable. In that case, I will take you down first, then kill Uchiha Itachi. Kang. After making the decision, the long sword around Sasuke's waist was instantly unsheathed. Almost instantly, the violent thunder attribute chakra was wrapped on the long sword. With this move alone, it can already be seen that Sasuke has indeed made a lot of progress. Chapter 221. The Kirin of the Two Pillars advertisement. Chidori, dry this. The assistant flicked his wrist, and the long sword was swiftly swung in time. The powerful thunder attribute chakra turned into hundreds of thunder escapes, and it shot at Qin Yu like a violent storm. Each dry book is shining with blue and white electric light, and under the beautiful appearance, it is the ultimate lethality and penetrating power. Compared to metal senbon, this laid-done shinbon is obviously more terrifying. This so-called expert will know if there is any. Urzuzi's handmade bird copy is extraordinary in terms of accuracy and quantity. It can be seen that he hasn't lost it in the past 3 years. However, despite this, it is also a pity. You know, all these things he has put together now, whether it is the technique of Thunder Knife or the dry bird, seem to be left over from Qin Yu's play. Today, Qin Yu has completely ignored these things. However, facing the overwhelming dry bird, Ji Lai Yi's expression was straightforward. Originally, this guy wanted to watch the show steadily, but Sasuke's attack coverage was too wide, and he also enveloped him. Ji Lai is also unambiguous, and his hands are directly formed quickly. Ninfa Needle Jizo. With a soft drink from Jiraiya, the long white hair that was already quite lush on his head suddenly soared. A wagging tail protected his body in it. This Needle Jizo is Jiraiya's unique secret technique. After it is cast, the hair not only soars but also becomes as hard as metal. Used for defense, this secret technique can be said to be the most useful. Sasuke's dry bird hit the ground and immediately pierced into the ground several feet, with extremely strong penetrating power. However, hitting the long white hair, it was just a sound of metal and iron, completely impenetrable. As for helping Qin Yu defend, Jiraiya didn't have this idea at all. He had known for a long time that with Qin Yu, as long as he didn't hold back, he was already making a contribution. And it is true. These tricks of Sasuke were placed 3 years ago, and Qin Yu may still need to take it seriously. But in Qin Yu's eyes now, it was nothing more than a floating cloud. Sasuke didn't use the riding wheel, so naturally he wouldn't use it first. Even, his hands have been keeping the posture of arms folded, only slightly raised a finger. In an instant, the powerful thunder attribute chakra immediately wrapped his whole body, forming a dazzling Thor armor outside his body. After that, Qin Yu didn't make any more moves, letting those spurs stab him. However, the destructive thunder dunk hit him, not only was unable to cause any damage to him at all, but was directly absorbed by the thunder god's armor and disappeared. This guy's thunder. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly, and his face suddenly sank. Although he had never thought of using this trick to win Qin Yu, it was quite surprising that Qin Yu could dissolve his ultimate move so easily. In particular, he also discovered that after the whale swallowed his dry bird, Qin Yu's already violent Thor armor seemed to be a little stronger. In the past 3 years, the improvement of his strength is second. The most important thing is that his vision has improved a lot. It was just a face-to-face, and he had already discovered one thing, that is Qin Yu's Thunderdunge accomplishments. I'm afraid it is above himself. Realizing that his laid-done was no match for Qin Yu, this made Urzuzi's mood a lot lower in an instant. His usual attack methods are fire escape, thunder escape, and swordsmanship. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Huo Dun hasn't practiced much in these years, but he has already seen how terrifying Qin Yu's extinguishing fire is. Advertisement therefore, he is also insulting himself by showing it to fire escape now. As for swordsmanship, let alone. Qin Yu's physique, even if he does not open the 8 doors Dunjia, is the best in the world of forbearance. Are you going to use a kaleidoscope when you come up? Sasuke's face became very gloomy at this time, and he kept thinking about it. The consumption of the kaleidoscope is really too great. No. The kaleidoscope must be kept to deal with that B*************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************e tribe is not worthy of my use of a kaleidoscope. In that case, use that. Thinking of his unique trick, Suzuo Young's face once again showed a confident sneer. I saw his arm shook, and a long sword covered with Lei Dun chakra burst out. Lei Dun's long sword shot out and pointed directly at Qin Yu on the opposite side. The force of this throw is incredible, and there is also a thunder attribute chakra bonus, and the long sword is like a thunder across the void. Even if it is a strong shadow rank, if one is careless, he must be in a hurry. However, in front of Qin Yu, this trick was normal, whether it was power or speed. He didn't even open the writing wheel, but only stretched out 2 fingers, which actually clamped the thunder longsword that was blasted toward his face within a few millimeters. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya and Uchiha Itachi looked horrified at the same time. The level of strength reflected by this move is second, but Qin Yu's confidence that far surpasses others is undoubtedly revealed. Although Sasuke is still a little immature today, he is no longer what he used to be. If they were to face this blow, they would never dare to act like this. Even Uchiha Itachi, a combat artist, who is proficient in writing round eyes, would not dare to be so big. When Sasuke saw this, his face sank even more, speeding up the knot printing movement on his hands. That's right, he threw the long sword, not because he wanted to cause any harm to Qin Yu, but just to buy himself some time for the seal. Fire escaped the art of the powerful fire dragon. At this moment, Ji and an assistant Suzuo was completed. Several fire dragons quickly soared into the sky, a wagging tail crashed into the clouds, and then disappeared. Soon, as the fire dragon completely entered the high-altitude clouds, the originally clear sky above Uchiha's ancestors suddenly dimmed. Above the sky, a large number of dark clouds gather, and among the dark clouds, there are constantly powerful electric arcs flickering. Seeing Sasuke's fire escape, Qin Yu immediately understood what she wanted to do. Although he understands, he still secretly complains about Sasuke's woul done attainments. But it can also be seen that Sasuke has not tried too much in these years. However, the level of woul done is average, and the direct result is that this time the two pillars intend to use the power of the unicorn. I am afraid it is also very average. But the facts are also true. Urzuzi's woul done skills are not as good as Qin Yu's, so the impact on the weather is far less powerful than Qin Yu's. In addition, he has no place advantage. You must know that Qin Yu released the unicorn twice, once in the country of water and once in the country of thunder. These two places are naturally rainy and thunderous countries, and the power of thunder and lightning borrowed innately more than here. Under the combination of various reasons, the thunderclouds caused by the two pillars this time are indeed relatively ordinary. But even so, Itachi and Jiraiya, who were watching the battle, were shocked to the extreme. The two of them had never seen Qin Yu perform this technique before, and now when they first saw it, they felt extremely shocked at this time. Chapter 222. Kirin was seized advertisement. The Itachi who was present was very pleased at this time, and murmured in secret, "Sasuke, you really have grown a lot." Jiraiya also sighed and said secretly, "This kid Sasuke is indeed a top genius. If there is no such thing as Qin Yu, the younger generation of Konoha will only be able to compare with him, even if Naruto has 9 tails. No way. What a pity, what a pity." Although the two were shocked by Sasuke's whimsical ideas, no one thought that he could defeat the man Qin Yu in front of him. Unfortunately, Urzuzi did not have such awareness. I saw his figure flickering again and again, all the way to the heights. Ha ha ha. Qin Yu, you stupid and arrogant fellow. Today, let you see my assassin. Urzuzi face up to the sky, spread his hands, his face is full of triumph. In his opinion, he has already accumulated thunderclouds, distinguished between victory and defeat, and even birth and death, only in a single thought. Before that, he must vent his frustration over the past few years. The thunderclouds in the sky rolled, and the terrible electric light reflected on his face, which was even more crazy. And below, at this time Uchiha Itachi also frowned, and murmured, although Sasuke's strength has become a lot stronger, his arrogant personality is really not good, facing Qin Yu's level. The strong, how can you take it lightly? The fact is also true. If the opponent is not Qin Yu but other shadow-level powerhouses, I am afraid that Urzuzi will force Lai's words, and he has been rushed to knock down. Only Qin Yu was interested in watching the monkey show, and watched him pretending to be so quiet. The two pillars were like a madman and forced Lai alone for a long time. He wanted to see fear and panic on Qin Yu's face. Unfortunately, this is just his own wishful thinking. It can be said that Qin Yu was so calm from beginning to end, with a playful smile on his handsome face. I see how long you can do it. Urzuzi clenched his fists secretly, and chakra flocked to his eyes. In an instant, the dark eyes in Sasuke's eyes suddenly turned scarlet, and Sambuyu's riding wheel eyes were brought into full play. At this moment, he is carefully observing the direction of thunder and lightning in the clouds. His expression was extremely solemn, and he clearly knew the danger of Qilin. This was the first time he had used a unicorn against an enemy in a real sense. The opponent was still a scheming guy like Qin Yu, so he didn't dare to be careless at all. After observing for a long time, he stretched out his right hand and carefully explored a thunder attribute chuck stretched into the thundercloud. After a while, it was considered that the powerful natural thunderbolt in the thundercloud was reluctantly connected. Slowly, the thunder and lightning began to distort, and the image of the unicorn began to take shape. Ha ha ha. When Sasuke saw the appearance of the unicorn, he laughed wildly on his face again, and said to Qin Yu, "Qin Yu, look good. This is the S-level ninjutsu that I have created after years of painstaking efforts, the unicorn. You were fortunate enough to be the first to try the power of this trick." This guy started to talk about it, and shook his palm in a coquettish manner. With the shaking of assistant's palm, the Qilin in the thundercloud also shook his head. The thunder sounded, and I could hear it clearly for dozens of miles. However, Qin Yu still only smiled at this, and did not show any movement because of the power of the unicorn. When Sasuke saw this, his face suddenly sank, and he shouted directly at Qin Yu. "You're pretending to be less makeup. In front of this trick, you have no room for resistance at all." In response to this, Qin Yu nodded without a doubt, and responded to Sasuke, "What you said makes sense." Haha. Sasuke chuckled directly when he heard the words, and said secretly, "You, Qin Yu, can't even pretend for a moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A strange and powerful sense of invigoration spontaneously arises. Advertisement. Most of the haze that Qin Yu brought to him has dissipated. In his opinion, since then, Qin Yu's era has completely ended. And his Sasuke, as the only survivor of Uchiha, will overwhelm the ninja world. Reshaping Uchiha's glory. Right now, it can be said that because of Qin Yu's words, Urzuzi even thought out the child's name. However, at the next moment, Qin Yu also instantly revealed the state of Sambuyu riding round eyes. Seeing that he didn't leave the ground, and didn't pay much attention to observation, he raised his right hand high. A powerful thunder burst out from the palm of your hand. The thunder turned into a beam of thunder, and it plunged straight into the clouds like a laser. It seems that he is going to compete with Sasuke for control of Kailan. You must know that he has used Kailan's ninjutsu many times, and he is already familiar with the road, so he doesn't need to be as careful as Sasuke. Nani? However, his move shocked all three people present. The natural lightning in the clouds is extremely violent and extremely unstable. It was a fluke that Sasuke had penetrated his chakra before and did not cause a riot. Now that there is a new chakra penetration, the consequences must be disastrous. Sure enough, as soon as the thunder beam penetrated, the unicorn rioted frantically. Immediately afterwards, Qin Yu directly relied on his Lei Dun's attainments, and with an extremely overbearing posture, he directly grabbed the control of Qilin. In an instant, Sasuke was shocked to find that the Lei Dun Qilin that he had worked so hard to assemble was no longer under his control. Not only that, the Lei Dun chakra line in his hand was originally a bridge he used to guide the unicorn, but at this moment, it became ******. The powerful natural thunder and lightning follow the chakra line and flow back. What? With Sasuke's scream, his right hand was already bloodied. Forced, he withdrew the chakra line. "Baga, give me back my unicorn." At this time, Sasuke Zhuang was crazy. He could not accept the fact that the unicorn was taken away. Qin Yu just smiled when he saw this, and then said to him, "Okay, no problem, I'll give it back to you." Seeing Qin Yu's big hand, the unicorn in the air immediately danced wildly. Two glazed eyes instantly locked Sasuke's position. The terrifying air machine came crashingly. Almost for an instant, Urzuzi only felt cold throughout his body, and even the chakra inside his body was not flowing smoothly. This unprecedented sense of crisis shocked Sasuke. At this moment, his handsome face was full of horror. At this time, after seeing Qin Yu controlling Qilin and aiming at Sasuke, Itachi, as the senior brother control, could no longer remain calm. After all, he didn't know whether Sasuke's own power could really resist this blow that seemed like a punishment from heaven. I saw him stand up from the stone chair. His kaleidoscope pupils are ready to go. Chapter 223. Uchiha's 4 Great Laughs advertisement. I saw him stand up from the stone chair with the ground, but the kaleidoscope writing wheel in his eyes is gaining momentum. Uchiha Itachi's vision and insight are extremely powerful. Although he himself is not good at Thunderdunge, he understood in an instant that the move in front of him is an unavoidable attack. However, if you want to resist this ninjutsu technique, you can only rely on the kaleidoscope to write round eyes, the ultimate pupil technique Suzuo Nohu. I don't know if Sasuke now has opened the kaleidoscope to write round eyes? Uchiha Itachi frowned, and a pair of scarlet eyes fixed on the battlefield. He has been prepared. Once the situation on the court is not good, he will be as high as possible, and he will use the super large Susanoo to protect Sasuke in it. I have to say that his idea is very good, but when he suddenly stood up, it looked different in Sasuke's eyes. From the eyes of Urzuzi, blinded by hatred and self-confidence, his strange behavior clearly meant to take advantage of the fire. Itachi Uchiha must be afraid of my strong strength and dare not face me alone, so I wanted to take this opportunity to sneak attack. This B************. He really does whatever it takes to achieve his goal. At this moment, Sasuke Uchiha, who was the second pillar, thought he had seen everything. The Urzuzi at this time is inexplicable grief and anger in his heart. The unicorn, which was created with great effort and care, fell into the opponent's hand instantly. And his enemy, at this moment, took the opportunity to come down again, which made his situation extremely difficult. But soon, a sneer suddenly appeared on his face. Huh, it's a pity, you can't think of it in your dreams. I have opened the kaleidoscope to write round eyes, this trick Qilin can't help me. At this moment, he had decided not to hide and tuck, and directly showed his kaleidoscope writing wheel. When I think of my own kaleidoscope writing round eyes, Erzi's self-confidence is even more overwhelming. At this moment, he had already thought that he would fight 1 against 2 next. Even he was thinking about how to directly defeat the 2 enemies of Qin Yu and Uchiha Itachi at the same time. As for Jiraiya, this powerful, 3 nin, in the ninja world for many years is no longer in his eyes. Qin Yu was not interested in these twists and turns between the 2 brothers. Seeing that Sasuke's face was no longer frightened, I knew he was ready. So, he waved his big hand. Roar! The unicorn in the sky immediately shook his head and crashed down. Huh! Kaleidoscope writing round eyes. Open! At the moment of the fight, the 3-hooked jade in the eyes of the 2 pillars revolved rapidly, and instantly showed his own, chrysanthemum eyes. Immediately afterwards, the pupil power of the kaleidoscope writing round eyes was activated. A huge purple chakra burst out of his body, and before the thunder fell, it could form a huge skeleton outside his body. This trick is exactly the initial stage of Suzuo Nohu. Boom! The unicorn transformed into the terrifying thunder blasted directly on the purple skeleton. Although Sasuke's Suzuo can be used very crudely, but fortunately his unicorn is also very crude. Therefore, even though Suzuo Nohu was bombarded in tatters, he still barely resisted the blow. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Uchiha Itachi was greatly relieved when he saw the appearance of Sasuke Kaleidoscope. Advertisement seeing that he successfully used Suzuo Nohu, he completely relaxed and rebuilt on the stone chair. In this scene, seeing Urzuzi's eyes, the fascinated and confident teenager suddenly showed a sneer. In his opinion, his B********** D brother must be sighing. He must be sighing, just now he would have missed the opportunity to attack him. But soon, his attention shifted to Qin Yu again, ha ha ha. As the second pillar, Sasuke Uchiha looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, and the 4 masters of Uchiha laughter landed on the spot. Although the outside of Suzuo Nohu had been beaten to shreds, it could not affect Urzuzi's great cause of pretending to be in the slightest. Under the shroud of broken Suzuo, he looked down at Qin Yu condescendingly, with a cold and crazy expression. How about Qin Yu? Why don't I let you be a unicorn? Can it break my defense? Did you see it? This is the power of my Uchiha kaleidoscope. You humble and stupid tribe, although you belong to the Uchiha clan, and although you have a writing wheel, what about it? Can you open the kaleidoscope to write round eyes? Ha ha ha. All you can use is the lowest level of writing round eyes ability? You will not be able to obtain the ultimate secret technique of kaleidoscope writing round eyes for a lifetime? When Qin Yu heard this, his whole person was almost full of laughter. It's really funny, it depends on our second pillar. This pretender is simply the hardest pretender Qin Yu has ever seen in his life. But then again, this guy really didn't know that Qin Yu had already opened the kaleidoscope to write the wheel. If you let him know that as early as 3 years ago, when he was clamoring to betray Konoha in search of power, Qin Yu actually already had a kaleidoscope, or even an eternal kaleidoscope. That scene, just think about it exciting. He was different from his stupid brother, he had seen Qin Yu's kaleidoscope writing round eyes with his own eyes 3 years ago. But after so many years, it was the first time that he let Qin Yu shrink, and his heart was quite cheerful. Even after 3 years, his strength has improved a lot, but when facing Qin Yu again, he still has an unfathomable feeling. In contrast, Qin Yu's reaction to the comparison was relatively flat. Sasuke did not see envious, jealous, shock, and other emotions on Qin Yu's face, and was a little dissatisfied. Sasuke's arrogant character made him helpless as an older brother. The sentence of Urzuzi, "You can't open a kaleidoscope in your life," instantly made the Uchiha Itachi on the side awkwardly holding his forehead with his hand. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The always indifferent image on his face also broke power in 1 second. Because of the extreme pleasure, Urzuzi's face was a little distorted. Now Sasuke has just opened the kaleidoscope to write the wheel and is so floating, he is really ignorant and fearless. Therefore, Qin Yu just shrugged, and then nodded in a meaningful way, and replied to Sasuke. It makes sense, it makes sense. Ha ha ha, Qin Yu, keep jumping, keep pretending, keep using your humble tricks to trample on my dignity. Not only that, but also experienced a power. Urzuzi, who has been pretending to be force since he was a child, has been in a state of being slapped in the face as soon as he was about to pretend, but this did not affect his continued pretending. Especially when he first opened the kaleidoscope to write the wheel, he was completely floating in a state of boundlessness. As a former, senior Naruto fan, he knows the character of each character better. Chapter 224, 2 Pillars Send Warmth Advertisement. The first time I really used a kaleidoscope to write round eyes in actual combat, I used the ultimate secret Susanoo, which put a great burden on his body. 2 lines of blood and tears rushed out of his eyes, making his face even more crazy. However, the 2 pillars who first tasted the power of the kaleidoscope were completely obsessed with it, and desperately urged the pupil power of the kaleidoscope again. Suzuo Nohu, who had been beaten to a bit of tatters, began to slowly recover at this time. Qin Yu. Now I will let you see the power of kaleidoscope writing round eyes. Zuzi laughed wildly, and even after controlling the body of Suzuo Noji, he raised his fist and slammed it at Uchiha Itachi on the stone seat. Boom. Uchiha Itachi obviously hadn't expected Sasuke to come such a hand. But his combat literacy is so superb, a momentary has already flashed to the side. And that sturdy stone seat was punched and exploded by Sasuke's Susanoo. Seeing that he first defended the unicorn with Suzuo Nohu, and successfully pushed back Uchiha Itachi, Urju's self-confidence reached its peak at this time. Ha ha ha. I saw Uchiha Sasuke, who was the second pillar, laughed wildly, and said to the two people in front of him. You two go together. Sasuke Uchiha, I am so afraid. Uchiha Itachi had already learned about the expansion of his brother. I thought that was all, however, he never expected that he had just learned the tip of the iceberg before. In his opinion, probably the two brothers are going together, neither can be Qin Yu's opponent, not to mention that Sasuke is now even saying that he will beat two with one. Is this self-confidence? Or is it still stupid? As a senior younger brother, Uchiha Itachi was a little confused at this moment. He sighed deeply and secretly said, I don't know what happened today and how it will end up in the end. Originally, he felt that everything was under control. His death, Sasuke's future, he had already planned for it. However, Qin Yu was really a huge variable. 3 years ago, Itachi had taught him how to make moves that do not follow common sense. See you today, and you will know that things might hardly develop as you expected. At this time, the Zuzi was enough to vent to Qin Yu, and at this time he was no longer in his eyes. The power of kaleidoscope writing round eyes really gave him endless confidence. Now he is thinking about revenge on his B********** D brother with these eyes. As for Qin Yu, at this moment, he has become a guy in the way. The chrysanthemum eyes of Zuzi were instantly locked on Qin Yu's body. I saw him apply very indifferently and said, You humble fellow, you were fortunate enough to see Uchiha's kaleidoscope today, and you are worthy of this life. The next thing is the grievance between me and Itachi. You should die for me. Amaterasu. A strange wave passed, and the power of the kaleidoscope writing round eyes suddenly started. Suddenly, a large swath of incredibly hot black inflammation appeared out of thin air. After the appearance of this large black flame, the above chi machine was firmly locked on Qin Yu's body. Seeing Hei Yan, Qin Yu instantly understood that this was Amaterasu, the Amaterasu technique of the Uchiha clan. According to legend, the black flame of this daylight is the flame in the center of the sun, which is the strongest physical attack. And this attack is an unavoidable attack. Before the target is completely burned out, the burning flame will never go out. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. And Qin Yu, who was on the side, had already guessed what technique he was going to use as early as the second pillar forced Lili. Advertisement at the moment when the pair of chrysanthemum eyes suddenly widened, he was already prepared. The powerful chakra thorn excited, his originally dark pupils suddenly became scarlet. The three black go jade quickly linked together, forming a complicated pattern. Immediately afterwards, his kaleidoscope writing wheel suddenly shined brightly. A strange wave passed, and the space seemed to be distorted. The moment Amaterasu appeared out of thin air, it fell into the distorted space. Immediately afterwards, the Amaterasu, which claimed to will never disappear before the target burned out, slowly became smaller. In the end, the black flame of this daylight disappeared directly out of thin air. And this is exactly his kaleidoscope ability, swallowing rebellion. It can completely absorb the ninjutsu in sight and release it when needed. He has rarely used this ability all the time, because, with his current strength and vision, there are too few ninjutsu that are qualified to let him use swallowing to absorb. But Amaterasu, known as the strongest physical attack, is worth his use of this ability. In other words, he has always coveted the technique of Amaterasu. Although this thing is jokingly called the strongest attack that has never burned anyone. However, in fact, whether it is deterrence or power, it should not be underestimated. Only the Uchiha brothers in front of him are the only ones who can use this technique in the ninja world. Now Zuzi considers itself a killer of pain, but actually sends warmth. Facing Zuzi's Amaterasu, Qin Yu was not at all polite, and directly absorbed it on the spot. It is also his art master who is bold enough to directly use swallow. You know, the risk factor of Amaterasu is not low. If it were to be replaced by someone else, it would be necessary to isolate the Amaterasu with Suzuo Nohu first, and then swallow it to absorb it. But Qin Yu has always liked the feeling of dancing with the tip of a knife, so he directly swallowed it against Amaterasu, and absorbed it cleanly. After capturing Amaterasu, Qin Yu's mood was very good. Looking at the two pillars in front of him, Sasuke happily said, Sasuke, you really deserve to be my former teammate. I haven't seen each other for 3 years. He gave me such a gift as soon as I met. Thank you for the Amaterasu. His previous actions were too fast. After absorbing the black inflammation, he directly closed the kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes. In addition, there was a daylight blocking in the middle, so the second pillar was completely unaware of it. At the moment, Qin Yu also used a kaleidoscope to ride the wheel. However, Amaterasu, which had never been unprofitable before, suddenly disappeared out of thin air this time, which shocked Zuzi. In order to quickly get rid of Qin Yu, he confronted Itachi. It can be said that he did not hesitate to shed several liters of blood and tears before releasing Amaterasu. But now, Amaterasu disappeared so unexplainably, how could this make him accept it? Stupid. The bloody and tearful two-pillar like a madman, muttered. How is it possible? How can you be able to resist Amaterasu? That is the Uchiha family's kaleidoscope's mysterious pupil technique. How can you, humble fellow, stand there unscathed? First Kilin, now Amaterasu again. You be ********D. Give it back to me. Chapter 225. Carry out the way of pretending to be forced with life. Advertisement Urzuzi was originally extremely confident in his self-confidence, but his successive attacks failed, which made him completely lose his patience. Compared to his brother's grumpiness, Uchiha Itachi was much calmer. Although he did not see Qin Yu using the power of the kaleidoscope, his heart was constantly analyzing. This technique that just made Amaterasu disappear out of thin air, obviously has the shadow of time and space ninjutsu. Could this Qin Yu really be such a genius? He has practiced time and space techniques to a level that has not been reached by 4 generations of Hokage? What an inexperienced wizard. In just a moment, the idea of dryness flashed through Uchiha Itachi's mind. But Qin Yu didn't want to reveal his kaleidoscope of writing round eyes so early. At the same time, he didn't want to deal cruelly on the cute Urzu. But it was really annoying to hear him keep making noise there. Therefore, he decided to teach Urzuzi a lesson that will be unforgettable for life. Take this opportunity to completely wipe out the arrogance of Urzuzi. Ha ha. Qin Yu hooked the corner of his mouth and sneered at Urzuzi. Since you want your Amaterasu, then give it back to you. Okay. For some reason, when Sasuke heard these words, the hair on his body stood up at the same time. Immediately, a strong sense of crisis enveloped the whole body in an instant. He suddenly remembered that just a few minutes ago, Qin Yu sneered like this and returned his unicorn to him. Difficult. Sasuke thought of something instantly, but quickly vetoed it, denying it and said, no, it's impossible. He was able to take control of my unicorn because his laid-done attainments were indeed superior to me, plus I had some carelessness, so he said. And the photo that day, but the unique pupil technique of the kaleidoscope writing round eyes, how could he manipulate it? However, though thinking about it this way, Sasuke did not dare to neglect in the slightest. He once again endured the pain in his eyes, and paid the price of several liters of blood and tears, strengthening the body of Suzuo Nohu. Seeing this, Qin Yu was also happy. Although this second pillar is a second in the second, but it is still not stupid, and knows to strengthen the defense. Sure enough, at the moment when Sasuke strengthened Suzuo Nohu, Qin Yu once again manifested the eternal kaleidoscope writing round eyes. The secret technique of vomiting suddenly activated. Inverse. Say what you say. The Amaterasu black flame that had been absorbed before, at this moment, it appeared directly out of thin air again. It's just that this time it didn't appear in front of Qin Yu. Instead, it fell directly outside of Sasuke's body, above Nasu Sano. Amaterasu's so-called, nothing does not burn, is not groundless. As soon as this black skylight flame appeared, it immediately began to burn. Even Suzuo Nohu's body is constantly being burned by it. Urzuzi was taken aback for a while, and hurriedly focused chakra and tongli on Suzuo Nohu, constantly contending with Amaterasu. It is conceivable that if it were not for Sasuke's external guardian Susanoo, with his reaction speed, it would be impossible to escape this blow. This time, Qin Yu did not hide anything. The scarlet and bizarre eternal kaleidoscope writes round eyes, clearly exposed in front of everyone. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Urzuzi was so shocked by the scene in front of him that he raised his arm, pointed at Qin Yu's eyes tremblingly, and tremblingly said, You. Advertisement, you. How is it possible? You also opened the kaleidoscope to write round eyes. Impossible. How could you open the kaleidoscope to write the wheel? How can that be? At this moment, a series of emotions such as jealousy, resentment, embarrassment, etc., came to my heart at the same time. Thinking of his various arrogance before, he also mocked Qin Yu for not being able to open the kaleidoscope to write the wheel all his life. Thinking of this, Urzuzi wanted to smash to death on the sky with shame. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi was also quite gloomy at this time, and the fists hidden under Akatsuki's robe were suddenly clenched. He is different from his stupid brother, he knows more. So he could see Qin Yu's eyes at a glance, they weren't ordinary kaleidoscope eyes. It's an eternal kaleidoscope that takes you to the next level. 3 years ago, he had seen Qin Yu's kaleidoscope writing round eyes. At that time, he just thought that Qin Yu was an ordinary tribe with the blood of Uchiha, but a genius of Tianzong, by chance, opened the kaleidoscope of writing round eyes. Although it was quite shocking, it was barely understood. But the eternal kaleidoscope writing round eyes is beyond his understanding. According to the record on the Uchiha stele, it is necessary to open the kaleidoscope by yourself and then transplant the kaleidoscope of others to open the eternal kaleidoscope. In other words, besides the two brothers and the masked man and Qin Yu in front of him, there is a kaleidoscope in the ninja world today? When did Uchiha's survivors become so many? With this kind of doubt, he hurriedly observed Qin Yu's eyes carefully. This careful observation is even more shocking and inexplicable. Because the 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes that Qin Yu possessed were obtained through the system, and they were very good. Eyes that have never been seen before and abilities that have never been seen before. At this moment, you can imagine how shocking the heart of Itachi at this time. For an instant, he even had an extremely outrageous idea. Both defense power and offensive power have been improved qualitatively. On the other side, Sasuke deserves to be a man who bears half of ninja's fate. But as a person who uses his life to carry out the way of pretending, he can find new confidence every time. That's how Qin Yu is now the eternal kaleidoscope. Could it be that Qin Yu dug up some secret cemetery of his family and transplanted the mysterious kaleidoscope? First of all, he had seen Qin Yu display a kaleidoscope 3 years ago. Under extreme sublimation, the Suzuo Nohu outside of the body has evolved directly to the second stage. At this time, after he was extremely angry, his kaleidoscope was transformed again. The always wise Uchiha Itachi was puzzled this time. In desperation, he had to sigh secretly. This is strange. This Qin Yu is really an alien. You must know how many times Urzuzi has been slapped in the face along the way. Secondly, even if he finds the dead Uchiha tribe, but it is impossible that so many people have also opened the kaleidoscope. It was originally just a skeleton based on the skeleton, but at this time, the meridians and flesh and blood were once again enriched, and it was immediately wrapped in the code like chakra. What's more, Qin Yu's writing wheel can be opened and closed freely, which is obviously not a transplant of others. But soon, he shook his head again and rejected the idea. The most obvious manifestation is the Amaterasu burning outside of the body. Obviously, Suzuo's breakthrough gave him a lot of confidence. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. After Suzuo Nohu enriched the meridians in flesh and blood, the burning speed of Amaterasu slowed down a lot. The second stage of Suzuo can be much more advanced than the first stage. Chapter 226. Call the good guy. Advertisement. Did you see Qin Yu? A breakthrough? Even the sky is on my side. Even if it is Amaterasu, what can you do? I still have Susanoo. Take it to death. After screaming for a few words, Urzuzi immediately urged Suzuo Nohu under him and blasted away at Qin Yu. This time, Sasuke, the second pillar, didn't dare to delay anymore. First of all, he considered that his own Amaterasu from the outside world is a hidden danger after all. If Qin Yu is not killed as soon as possible, he will never want to deal with Amaterasu. Secondly, he has clearly felt the lack of chakra and pupil power. Especially after using the second stage of Suzuo Nohu, the consumption of chakra and pupil power is even more terrifying. And the third and most important point, that is, he must leave enough state to deal with the enemy Uchiha Itachi. In fact, even though he felt a lot of humiliation in Qin Yu's place, he still hadn't forgotten his initial intention. For him, it was Uchiha Itachi, not Qin Yu, who wanted to kill the most. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi saw that his younger brother's strength had increased again, and he hooked his mouth insignificantly. For Sasuke's another attack, he did not stop it. He was also very curious about how strong this Uchiha Qin Yu was in front of him. However, since even the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel had already been illuminated, Qin Yu naturally did not intend to delay any longer. In the shocked eyes of everyone, his eyes changed again. The eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes slowly faded away, and the original scarlet eyes suddenly became purple. Immediately, black ripples appeared in the bottom of his eyes. Nani? That is. Uchiha Itachi's eyes widened suddenly, and he said in shock, like pen, that is. The Eye of Reincarnation? How can that be? How many hole cards does Qin Yu hide? I don't know how many times Itachi has been so shocked today. In other words, the number of times he was shocked in the past few years has not been as much as today. Even with his wit and talent, in such a sudden situation, he would never think that the end of the evolution of Uchiha's writing round eyes is the reincarnation eye. In an instant, his heart that had just been put down again came up. The whole person's body is in a tight state, ready to save his stupid brother at any time. It's just that now he is completely unsure whether he can really protect Sasuke. As for the second pillar, his idea is even more outrageous. After all, he is different from the well-informed Itachi. He has only heard of the Eye of Reincarnation and has never seen it before. Unprepared, he didn't even think about that. Seeing the sudden change in Qin Yu's eyes, the thought he immediately came up with turned out to be, Nani? Illusion? However, kaleidoscope writing round eyes and Suzuo Nohu really gave him too much confidence. He was just lost for a moment, and then he didn't take this so-called illusion to his heart again. In his opinion, Qin Yu even started to use this obscure method, absolutely afraid of his own Suzuo Nohu. Huh. A mere illusion, a small carving skill. Give me death. Thinking of this, he even more crazily urged Suzuo Nohu outside of his body. He wanted to take advantage of Qin Yu's illusion technique and take it down with the momentum of thunder. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, Qin Yu, who was opposite him, heard what Urzuzi said at this time. There was a twitch at the corner of his mouth. Advertisement illusion? What the hell is illusion? Where can I tell that it is illusion? If you don't know the Eye of Reincarnation, forget it, but you still regard it as an illusion? As a ninja of the Uchiha clan, and a direct descendant of the patriarch family, he doesn't even know the reincarnation eye, the head of the three pupil arts? Except for your second pillar, there is no one else? It seemed that it was time to show real technology. Qin Yu thought so in his heart. When he looked at the already swollen second pillar in front of him as his opponent, Qin Yu sneered and said, I really don't know how a second stage Suzuo Nohu gave you so much confidence. Under all eyes, he calmly stretched out his right hand. Immediately, his right hand was aimed at the two pillars in the distance. In fact, since acquiring the origin of Indra and the origin of Ashura, his strength has been increasing almost every day. With his current strength, it would be no problem to come to a tremor of the sky. But this time, he didn't use any ninjutsu that changed too much. It just launched an ordinary ninjutsu, Vientiane Tianyan. It may be that the Eye of Reincarnation comes with its own buff. Even a cynical guy like Qin Yu, when using the Eye of Reincarnation to perform ninjutsu, his tone cannot help but move closer to the direction of Heavenly Dao Pen. Plain, indifferent, with supreme majesty, as the head of the three pupil arts, the reincarnation eye is indeed worthy of the phrase, speak out the law. When Qin Yu's words fell, his eyes suddenly exploded with supreme power. The terrible gravitational force burst out from the palm of his right hand. At the moment when Vientiane Tianyan used it, the body of Erzu, who was controlling the forward thrust of Suzuo, suddenly shook. Immediately, Erzuzi just felt that everything in front of her had disappeared. Seeing this, Qin Yu's originally indifferent and calm face couldn't help twitching again. For an instant, Uchiha Itachi's illusion of the bottom of the box moon reading appeared in his mind. Only a pair of purple-bottomed wavy eyes lay across the void in brilliant masterpiece. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Although the effect of Wanxiang Tianyan's technique is overbearing, it does not have much lethality in itself, and it seems that Sasuke will not be too dangerous. Good guys. I'm calling you good guys. But the next second, when he saw that his brother was desperately releasing the illusion, he staggered under his feet and almost fell directly to the ground. Immediately afterwards, his body was involuntarily lifted off the ground. I call the expert. After that, it flew forward at a very fast speed. How can this be? This kind of illusion that can directly impose strong hallucinations on people and make people feel very immersive, even if it is not a monthly reading, it should be an illusion at the same level as the monthly reading. My dignified reincarnation eye pupil technique turned out to be an illusion technique, no one. Until now, this guy thought he was hit by an illusion. In a hurry, Erzuzi did not dare to hesitate at all, and immediately sealed the seal, and then shouted, "Solution." On the side, when he saw this miraculous sky guide, Uchiha Itachi narrowed his eyes and said secretly, "Sure enough, his ability is the same as pain." Sasuke, who was flying in midair, was shocked, and said in shock, "What kind of illusion is this? Can it affect me to this point?" At this moment, Uchiha Itachi also breathed a sigh of relief immediately. Chapter 227, Half Dream and Half Awake Advertisement. However, as a senior brother control, facing Sasuke's ignorance and fearlessness, Itachi would of course choose to forgive him. And in an instant, he found a reason for his poor brother in his heart. Yes, Sasuke doesn't even know the eyes of reincarnation. Yes, Sasuke suffers from too little experience and knowledge. How overbearing is the power of Vientiane Tianyan? The second stage of Sasuke's Suzuo can only block part of it, and most of the power is still directly acting on him. At this time, he has been directly pulled out of Suzuo's protection by the strong gravitational force. Losing the kaleidoscope pupil power and the supply of chakra, Suzuo began to slowly dissipate. As the second pillar, Sasuke lost the guardianship of Suzuo Nohu, and his whole person flew out faster and faster. Sasuke is also a ruthless man. In order to break free from the illusion, he tried various methods in an instant. Even tongue biting has been done, but it still has no effect. In the end, Erzuzi took his heart cruelly and carefully reviewed his chakras with his own kaleidoscope of writing round eyes. You know, the illusion in Hokage essentially interferes with the opponent's chakra flow, so as to make the opponent hallucinate. After the inspection, Sasuke was very embarrassed to find that his chakra flow was completely normal and there was no abnormality at all. It wasn't until this time that he finally understood that he didn't have any illusions at all. Everything in front of me is my own wishful thinking. That, Sasuke's eyes widened suddenly, and he said in shock. That is to say, Qin Yu really used a new pupil technique? This is gravity? Not good. Psychic art. Sasuke's combat IQ is actually not weak. He was only preconceived and stuck too deeply, which seemed a bit naive. When he found that his body was controlled by gravity, he immediately used the psychic technique on his arm to create two chains. On the other end of the chain, there are long and sharp nails. Under the urge of Sasuke chakra, the two chains burst out and were heavily nailed into the boulder not far away. Seeing that the other end of the chain was fixed, Sasuke's hands clenched tightly, trying to resist the gravity of Qin Yu's palm in this way. In Qin Yu's opinion, Sasuke was indeed dumb and didn't know how to say it, but seeing that he was finally reacting now, he suddenly felt that he was actually not as dumb as it was. And after he reacted, the coping methods he took were quite in place, although, fundamentally speaking, it was useless. Yes, it's just useless. If only a broken chain can withstand this repulsive force, that would not take Qin Yu as a human being, and it would really underestimate the power of reincarnation. In fact, Sasuke had a little chance to resist it. That was the moment when Qin Yu launched Vientiane Tianyan. He fully urged Suzuo Nohu to resist. Unfortunately, he missed it. The fact is indeed the case. After Sasuke reacted, the measures he took were indeed very good, exactly the same as Kakashi's choice when he first faced Tiandao Pain in the original book. However, Kakashi was unable to fight against heaven, how could Sasuke be able to fight against Qin Yu, who is far stronger than pain? Even if the Urzuzi used the strength of China, even if he used the powerful Lei Dun chakra, trying to hold the chain firmly, but his body kept flying forward. In the end, under the strong gravitational force of Vientiane Tianyan, the chain made of fine iron broke directly. After the life-saving straw suddenly broke, the two pillars flew towards Qin Yu at a faster speed than before. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In the end, Qin Yu's right hand directly held Sasuke's neck. Advertisement. The chaotic outside world instantly became silent. Uchiha Itachi's body tightened instantly, and he was about to take a step forward. But it was just a momentary impulse, and he forced it back. However, his gaze kept staring at Qin Yu. You must know how powerful Qin Yu's insight is. Although Itachi did not take that step, he still noticed the change of Itachi. But he just hooked the corner of his mouth slightly and didn't care. And poor Sasuke, after being captured, was unable to breathe well and coughed violently. But he is also considered hard-hearted, never yelling, let alone begging for mercy. Not only that, a grinning smile suddenly appeared on his face. And at this moment, the pair of kaleidoscope writing wheels in his eyes suddenly burst into a powerful light. Amaterasu. Go to death for me. At such a close distance, I don't believe you can still absorb Amaterasu, ahem. Although his neck was pinched, Sasuke's voice was hoarse. But at this moment, his voice was full of almost fanatical killing intent. His kaleidoscope writing wheel eye has just opened, and it is very burdensome to use this powerful pupil technique one after another. Therefore, terrible tears of blood gushed from his eyes. At this moment, the whole person seemed to be extremely terrible. However, Sasuke did not care about the comparison. There is no fear on his face, some only have a thick color of madness. He just wants to solve the battle with the fastest speed. In an instant, the black flames of Amaterasu reappeared. In Sasuke's view, Amaterasu was swallowed before, but it was because Qin Yu had prepared in advance, plus the distance was a little far away. Now that Qin Yu holds his neck in his hand, the two bodies are about to stick to each other, they are very close. With the speed and power of Amaterasu, it will definitely be won in one fell swoop. Qin Yu, there is absolutely no chance to dodge or swallow. I have to say that since hitting the second pillar from the illusion event just now, these two consecutive waves of operations have been very eye-catching. However, it is also a pity, after all, this is just a little dazzling. This slight dazzling, for the situation in front of you, it can be said that it cannot be compared with any changes. After all, the strength gap between him and Qin Yu was too great. The saddest thing is that until now, he still didn't realize this. Although Sasuke's operation of releasing Amaterasu at close range seemed to be sudden, in fact it was not what Qin Yu expected. At the moment when Sasuke Amaterasu was launched, Qin Yu also immediately urged the kaleidoscope to write the wheel of the ultimate Kazuki Ichisu Sanohu. The immeasurable purple cyan chakra burst out of his body, forming a purple cyan skeleton giant outside his body with lightning speed. How powerful is Suzuo? Although Qin Yu only displayed the first stage, he still blocked the sudden black flames from the sky. Nani? Seeing Susanoo who was directly on his face, Sasuke's pupil shrank suddenly, and said in shock, Susa? You can. Chapter 228, The Head Buzzing Trio Advertisement. He didn't know the eternal kaleidoscope writing round eyes, thinking that Qin Yu was just an ordinary kaleidoscope form. And seeing that Qin Yu had never used Suzuo Nohu, he assumed that he hadn't grasped this ultimate meaning. And this is also the confidence that Urzuzi dares to attack again. But now, the hard truth is on his face, and he can't help but believe it. What's more terrifying is that Qin Yu still kept the weird wavy eyes when using Suzuo Nohu at this time. At this moment, he did not show the shape of the kaleidoscope writing round eyes. How is this possible? Sasuke's heart was shaken, and he was very excited and shocked and said, what kind of pupil technique is this? How could it have such a miraculous effect? Dividing line, regarding Susanoo, I have to say the author here. There is a saying that only a kaleidoscope of two eyes can open Suzuo. Because of this, Kakashi and Dato, who have been single-eyed, can't use Susanoo. It wasn't until the last paired eyes that Kakashi opened Susanoo. However, the binocular kaleidoscope is only an opening condition for opening Susanoo. No matter whether you keep the kaleidoscope of eyes or not, you can continue to use it. Let's say Uchiha Madara, in his reincarnation eye state, even when he has no eyes, he has used Susanoo Nohu. Dividing line, but Uchiha Itachi who was watching the battle was much wiser than him. Seeing this scene, his eyes narrowed slightly. At the same time, he realized it at this moment, and said in his heart, could it be that there is some unknown connection between Shanyan and reincarnation? Yes, the eyes of reincarnation are the eyes of immortals, and my Uchiha clan is the descendant of the 6 ways of immortals. It is normal to write that there is a connection between the eyes of reincarnation and the eyes of reincarnation. I just didn't expect that the power of the reincarnation eye is so terrifying. On the other side, Qin Yu smiled slightly, looked at the second pillar Sasuke in front of him and said with a smile. Sasuke, your idea is still too simple, do you really think I can't resist it by putting your face on the sky? Or, in your eyesight, I can't use Susanoo at all? Cough. Sasuke was caught by the neck and had difficulty breathing, but his blood rose again, his face flushed. Sasuke was extremely annoyed that he was under a great physical burden, and the Amaterasu released in spite of the depletion returned without success. This made Sasuke extremely annoyed. However, he still did not give up. I saw him still roaring with difficulty at this time. Qin Yu, don't be too proud of you. Cough cough cough. Your Suzuo is just the first stage. You don't deserve to shout in front of me. Upon hearing this, Qin Yu's mouth twitched. Good guy, really good guy. Sasuke is really worthy of the name of the second pillar. I really don't accept it. Facing this invisible force, Qin Yu was sincerely convinced. Who could stand this force? For Qin Yu's embarrassment, Urzuzi is completely unaware of it, but at this time Urzuzi feels quite good about himself. Boom. At this moment, as soon as Urzuzi's voice fell, he forced the kaleidoscope to write round eyes again. The pupil power is activated, and the immeasurable chakra gushes out. In the second stage, Suzuo Nohu once again wrapped his body. In an instant, two giants appeared on the court, one purple-green, one pure purple. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Moreover, the pure purple Suzuo can obviously look stronger and larger than the purple one. Advertisement. But even so, Sasuke still failed to break free from Qin Yu's hands. Qin Yu's powerful right arm inserted directly into Suzuo Nohu, firmly holding Sasuke's neck. Sasuke is not surprised. In other words, as of now, he just wants to prove that the Suzuo Nengchi used by his orthodox Uchiha is stronger than Qin Yu's. Itachi and Jilai, who were watching the battle, couldn't help but shook their heads secretly. The so-called authorities are obsessed, and bystanders are clear. It is true. Not to mention that Weasel knew that Qin Yu had an eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and his power was inherently stronger than an ordinary kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Even Jiraiya, who knows little about Uchiha's kaleidoscope, has already seen signs of it. The signs he saw were also very simple, and it was clear from the state of the two activating the kaleidoscope. Sasuke urged the kaleidoscope several times, and he was weak and full of blood and tears, highlighting his embarrassment and reluctance. But Qin Yu didn't even breathe the atmosphere from beginning to end, highlighting his ease of use. Even a person who doesn't understand pupil skills can see that he is superior, but poor little Sasuke doesn't know it. Seeing the two pillars revealing a trace of pride in the embarrassment before him, Qin Yu directly shook his head helplessly. Everyone put their faces together, and if they don't fight, it's not his character. I saw him looking directly at Sasuke, learning the tone of Uchiha Itachi from the memory of his previous life, and said lightly, "My stupid teammate, your instrument is too narrow. With your eyes, how far can you see?" In an instant, Qin Yu directly forced the gods to reappear. When it comes to temperament, Qin Yu can't help it. These little words are a set of sets, which gives Sasuke a flick of a daze. At this time, Sasuke was indeed stunned by Qin Yu. It took a long time to recover from the daze, but then there was endless unwillingness and anger. Although it was difficult, he still groaned hysterically. Ahem. You humble fellow, what qualifications do you have to preach to me? Qin Yu smiled slightly at this, and Tang now said jokingly, "Can the only second stage of Suzuo Nohu give you such confidence?" Having said that, he once again mobilized a trace of kaleidoscope of pupil power. Boom. Nani? The third stage? Sasuke's face changed drastically. As soon as his voice came to an end, Suzuo Nohu had a new change again. In an instant, Suzuo Neng's original rough bones were instantly covered with meridians and flesh and blood. Qin Yu sneered again, and said mockingly, "Then, how about this?" A set of Wuxiangu armor was added to the original bones, meridians and beard flesh. With all eyes in full view, Suzuo Nohu's form has changed again. Boom. Then, what about this? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Qin Yu sneered directly at this, and continued to shock and said, "Can only the second stage shock you so much?" Shocked again. At such a close distance, he can clearly perceive that this time his Suzuo Nohu is not Qin Yu's opponent at all. Ha ha. At the same time, Suzuo Nohu was no longer empty-handed, but transformed into two huge long swords. Sasuke's face changed in an instant, and he blurted out in shock, "The second stage? How is it possible?" Chapter 229. Drain advertisement on the basis of the third form. The lower body and legs are added at this time. At this time, Suzuo's whole body was suddenly raised, and at the same time, the volume was greatly increased. And Qin Yu's position has also changed at this time. He rose directly into the air and arrived at the head position of Suzuo Nohu. And Sasuke, who was caught by Qin Yu, was also picked up like a chicken. Only this time, he was not pulled out of Susanna. However, his Suzuo can hardly have a lower body, and can only float in midair strangely and embarrassingly. The onlooker couldn't stop talking, and then he was sighing. The strength of this kid has really changed too much now, and it has completely left me this old guy behind. Compared with him, what Konoha Sanin, but you? Hey. Fortunately, this kid is Konoha. When I think about it, when I first met by the Konoha River, it seemed like it was yesterday. Uchiha Itachi's face changed again, and he muttered, "I really didn't expect Qin Yu to be able to evolve Susanna to such a degree. Even I can't do it. Is this the power of the eternal kaleidoscope to write round eyes?" Even the well-informed Uchiha Itachi believes that Qin Yu's performance should end here. However, at the next moment, Qin Yu actually said again, What, I can't accept this anymore? Then, what about this? Except for Qin Yu, the three people present heard these words again, and their brains felt buzzing at the same time. Immediately afterwards, two words appeared in the minds of the three at the same time. I wipe it? At this moment, the same thought came up in the three people's minds at the same time. Could it be that the Susanna Nengu that Qin Yu showed at this time is not the final form? Boom. Accompanied by a huge hum, the already very tall Susanna can be expanded again, becoming extremely huge, as large as hundreds of meters. The overall chakra is completely stable, the armor pieces on his body are distinct, and the double ribs have wings, just like gods. The two chakra swords on the waist are like the gods of heaven, which can break mountains and rocks. It's completely necessary to be Sano. It is also called the real Susanoo. Although Qin Yu had slightly relaxed his hands, Zuzi was completely out of breath at this time. It was not because he was pinched, but the shock and oppression brought to him by the complete body in front of him was too strong. The second stage of his proud Suzuo Nohu, in front of the full body Suzuo Nohu, it is really a veritable small. It is no exaggeration to say that his second stage body shape may be about the same size as a fist with a complete body. Thinking about what he had said before mocking Qin Yu, Zuzi was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a place to get in. It's a pity that Qin Yu is holding him in the air now, even if there is a seam, he can't get through it. After embarrassment, there is a deep jealousy. If I have such power, isn't a feud between my parents and the family? What? Intense jealousy, unwillingness, resentment and other emotions surged out at the same time. Sasuke yelled, and suddenly covered his eyes. Under such a powerful stimulus, endless blood and tears burst from the eyes. However, not only Sasuke, but Uchiha Itachi was also shocked beyond words. Originally, when Qin Yu showed Suzuo Nengu in the fourth stage, he was already shocked, but he still barely accepted it in his heart. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although he can only use Suzuo Nohu to the third stage, he still has two whole cards, that is, the two artifacts, namely the 10-punch sword and the Yata mirror. Advertisement with these two artifacts, even in the fourth stage of Suzuo Nohu, he has the confidence to take the initiative. But now, as soon as Suzuo was completely physically present, he broke his illusion completely. It's a complete body, and it's a force that exceeds the limit and even exceeds the imagination. Today's matter is still beyond my control. Uchiha Itachi frowned, and muttered to himself, I just don't know what Qin Yu's attitude is. This son is also good and evil, and I really can't figure it out. As for Ji Lai Yi, he was already quite familiar with Qin Yu's strength. In other words, seeing Qin Yu possessing such power to conquer the entire ninja realm, he felt quite relieved in his heart. After all, he is different from the ambitious Dashimaru. He is willing to believe in his younger generations, and is willing to entrust his future to his younger generations. Looking at the second pillar in front of him, Qin Yu said with a joking expression, I'm really embarrassed. For a powerful second stage Suzuo Nengu like you, it's really not easy for me to get out. You. Sasuke was furious, but he didn't know how to refute it. Facing the unimaginable complete body in front of him, he didn't even have the courage to speak harshly. Qin Yu smiled slightly and said faintly, oh, hand in your chakra. The next moment, his reincarnation eyes flashed. Infinite suction burst from his palm. In Sasuke's horrified gaze, the small Suzuo Nengi outside his body was gradually absorbed, getting smaller and smaller. Suzuo is a pupil technique, but his essence is actually a powerful chakra hood. Under the power of the reincarnation eye, it is slowly absorbed. Soon, Susanoo disappeared completely. Afterwards, Sasuke was shocked to find that the suction power had not disappeared, but began to continuously absorb the chakra in his body. How can it be? Because, his life and death enemy, the life and death enemy of his clan, Uchiha Itachi, is right in front of you. However, he must be able to suppress it completely, coupled with the divine power of the reincarnation eye, how can he resist? Sasuke's pupils shrank suddenly, his face full of disbelief. In less than half a minute, he completely became a mortal, without any power. For the current Zuzi, if you beat him and scold him, he is better to accept it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Doesn't this mean that he has no hope of revenge this time? At this time, he couldn't even maintain the kaleidoscope writing round eyes, slowly returning to the three-hook jade form. Baga. Qin Yu. No matter how hard he struggles, his chakras are still drawn at an extremely fast speed. A hole. Qin Yu. Feeling the empty chakra inside, Sasuke was like a madman, and shouted at Qin Yu frantically. You return my chakra? How can I get revenge like this? He has been lonely for nearly 10 years, and his ability to cultivate himself is to kill this enemy. The next moment, his body trembled, but now, Qin Yu is actually sampling his chakra. Sasuke was really furious this time, his eyes were full, and he struggled desperately, and shouted at Qin Yu angrily, you return my chakra. However, it is absolutely impossible to smoke his chakra. You know, when Naruto's chakra giant was drawn by the hungry ghost road, he was quickly drained, let alone Sasuke? Chapter 230. Two Pillars of Wisdom Advertisement. Jiraiya, who had been standing by and watching the show, immediately couldn't help but shook his head when he saw this scene, and said with emotion, this Sasuke is also a rare genius, but this B***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** he is really as immature as a child. Whether it is in terms of the strength of both sides, or in terms of character, he is far from it. Ahem. Sasuke coughed violently after finishing a set of hysterical roars. Originally, he could hold on for so long with Qin Yu holding his neck because of the support of the powerful chakra. Now that chakra is almost drained, he has also become immortal with no power at all. Now, he is pinched by Qin Yu's neck, and there is a chance that he will pass out at any time. However, even so, he still muttered with difficulty in his mouth. Report, sorrow, kill. And Uchiha Itachi, who had never taken a shot next to him, as a younger brother, he immediately became anxious when he saw his younger brother in such an unfavorable situation. As wise as he is, he can't really see through the young Qin Yu in front of him. Up to this moment, he still couldn't be sure what Qin Yu's attitude was. You know, Sasuke can be regarded as Konoha rebellious now. If Qin Yu suddenly attacked and killed him quickly with the momentum of thunder, it would not be impossible. Thinking of this possibility, he became even more anxious. Seeing him vacate the ground, the whole person stood up directly from the chair. After Uchiha Itachi pondered for a while, Zan even shouted at the aloof Qin Yu. Your Excellency, can I put my brother down first, and let our two brothers settle the family grievances first? No matter who wins or loses, naturally, Konoha will be given an explanation at that time. Haha. Qin Yu smiled directly when he heard Uchiha Itachi. I saw his pupil power suddenly receded, and the huge and complete body must suddenly dissipated. And as Suzuo Nohu dissipated, he also slowly fell from the void, and then casually tossed Sasuke, who was about to breathe, aside. With a loud bang, the second pillar, which had been off the ground for a long time, finally returned again. Ahem. Sasuke's face flushed and coughed violently for a long time before he finally recovered. He was not in the slightest grateful for Uchiha's words. On the contrary, for Uchiha Itachi's actions, he was full of infinite resentment. You know, he was full of spirits and self-confidence before. At that time, he thought that he, who had opened the kaleidoscope to write round eyes, was completely capable of taking down Qin Yu, the humble tribe, and then seeking revenge on Uchiha Itachi. However, after being directly beaten by Qin Yu, when he clearly felt his power and even his life passing by, he finally recognized the reality and finally remembered his original intention again. It doesn't really matter whether Qin Yu is dead or not. What's important is that Uchiha Itachi must die. Therefore, the first thing that Urzuzi returns to the ground is to summon a weapon through the psychic technique on his arm, and rush to kill Uchiha Itachi. However, his chakra was completely drawn by Qin Yu just now, and even the most basic psychic ninja was unsuccessful. Moreover, he staggered under his feet and fell directly to the ground. Uchiha Itachi felt a pain in his heart and couldn't help taking a step forward, and said concerned. Sasuke. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, go away. Advertisement. Urzuzi, blinded by hatred, directly showed no sympathy for Uchiha Itachi's performance, and said angrily to him, don't pretend to be hypocritical to disgust me. If you let Qin Yu let me go, didn't you worry that my kaleidoscope writing round eyes would fall into the hands of others, and you would lose the opportunity to open the eternal kaleidoscope writing round eyes? Today, I do not have you. Hearing this, Qin Yu, who was standing by the side, looked at Sasuke in front of him again, a little speechless. This guy. Did he think he was very wise, and then suddenly show off? The chakra in his body was exhausted, so he probably felt that he couldn't kill his brother anyway today. Therefore, he deliberately revealed the secret of the eternal kaleidoscope. This seems to be insulting Uchiha Itachi, but it is actually reminding Qin Yu that he must not let his kaleidoscope fall into Uchiha Itachi's hands. Shouting a chase, Sasuke got up again with difficulty. After getting up, Sasuke directly and resolutely rushed to his enemy Itachi Uchiha. Qin Yu shrugged helplessly, pointed to his chest casually, and whispered softly, "You done the technique of killing thorns." A large piece of cane rose from the ground and tied Sasuke in place with lightning speed. Humph. Dry bird flow. Dry bird flow. Baga. Qin Yu, you let me go. I want to take revenge. Facing the shackles of Qin Yu, Sasuke instinctively released defensive ninjutsu to break free. As a result, in addition to outputting a bowing wave attack with his mouth to the air, not even a trace of thunderlight came out. At this moment, he suddenly remembered that his chakra had been taken away, and suddenly became angry. Facing Sasuke's noise, Qin Yu just rolled his eyes and didn't care. The opposite Uchiha Itachi looked solemn, and said lightly, "Sasuke, you can restore the chakra here first, there will be a battle between you and me, and I will wait for you." With that, a pair of scarlet eyes locked Qin Yu instantly. Being so stared at by a pair of Wanhua abbreviation round eyes, changing to someone else must be like an enemy. However, Qin Yu was very relaxed about this. He just waved his hand casually and said indifferently, "It seems that you two brothers still haven't figured out the situation. As I said, you have no choice. Everyone here today. You can only listen to my destiny." Seeing that Qin Yu's attitude was still so arrogant, Uchiha Itachi frowned slightly, and a rare sharp flash flashed between his always gentle eyebrows. Although he has always been loyal to Konoha, this time, he does not want anyone to control the fate of himself and his younger brother. Even this person is ridiculously strong. Seeing this expression on Itachi, Qin Yu understood something in his heart. This guy, Itachi, is gentle in heart, but extremely tough, so he can carry everything on his back. However, now, it is not so easy for him to get rid of it. At this moment, Qin Yu seemed to completely want to start and was too lazy to refute. For the first time, he looked directly at Uchiha Itachi and said faintly, "Haha, Uchiha Itachi, nice look. Just, how far can you see with your eyes? The monthly reading, Amaterasu, and Suzuo Nohu that you rely on have absolutely no meaning in front of me." Chapter 231. Secret chat advertisement. Hearing these words from Qin Yu, all of a sudden, the face of Uchiha Itachi, who was cold and stern, changed slightly. Immediately, there was a sense of powerlessness from the heart. When this feeling appeared last time, it was when the Konoha executives and the Uchiha clan were incompatible. At that time, even his elder brother Shisui, whom he had always respected, was forced to kill himself. And he can only support hard in the whirlpool, and finally he has no choice but to destroy his family. Since then, his Xinxing has become more tenacious. No matter what kind of powerful enemy he encounters, no matter how difficult things he encounters, he is relatively easy to do. Even facing the leader of Akatsuki's organization, Pain, and the man who called himself Uchiha Madara, he didn't have such a sense of powerlessness. But the rising star of Konoha in front of him made Uchiha Itachi feel completely helpless. I first saw it 3 years ago, and his proud kaleidoscope writing round eyes secret technique had no effect in front of Qin Yu. Bye now, the Shao organization he was extremely jealous of had been obliterated by Qin Yu like chopping melons and vegetables. If you want to use 4 words to evaluate Qin Yu, Uchiha Itachi thinks it must be unfathomable. If you want to add 4 more words after these 4 words, it must be extremely enchanting one by one. With just a slight glance, Uchiha Itachi was trembling in his heart at this time. And his hands hidden in the big Shao robe were also trembling slightly at this moment. Have never activated any pupil surgery, just let me. At this time, Qin Yu was very curious, what choice would Uchiha Itachi make? Do you choose to grit your teeth and make gestures with me, or just bow your head? If he insists on doing it, I don't mind teaching him a lesson. Uchiha Itachi stayed on the spot for a while, then looked back at the trapped Sasuke, his eyes gradually firmed. In that case, Qin Yu was offended. As soon as his voice fell, the big triangular windmill in his eyes turned suddenly. The world in front of Qin Yu's eyes suddenly distorted rapidly, and in an instant it became blood red. It seems that you still want to make a gesture with me, ah. Qin Yu smiled directly at this, and said angrily, "It's unfortunate, you made a stupid choice. On a mere monthly reading, I couldn't help me 3 years ago, but now it's even more destructible." Just when Qin Yu was about to use his pupil power to directly violently break open the moon reading, Uchiha Itachi in the moon reading world hurriedly waved his hand and said hurriedly, "Wait, Qin Yu, you misunderstood. You, Qin Yu, can be described as a genius of Tianzong. I know I am not an opponent, and I don't mean to play with you." "Oh?" When Qin Yu heard this, he raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, "Then, what do you want to tell me?" Uchiha Itachi sighed deeply, and then bluntly said, "Yes. There are some things that I don't want Sasuke to hear." Haha. Qin Yu looked at this month's reading world, smiled at Uchiha Itachi, and said jokingly, "This month's reading world is a good place to whisper. In that case, you can talk." Uchiha Itachi's expression was dignified, and he said in a deep voice, "You are the pillar of Konoha today, a man wearing a half Naruto sleeve, and you are also a member of the Uchiha clan. I must have some understanding of the truth of the Uchiha clan's extinction. Understand? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Advertisement?" Hearing this, Qin Yu suddenly became a little surprised, and asked, "Why are you so sure?" "It's actually very simple." Uchiha Itachi smiled and continued to explain, "Because of your attitude towards me and my brother. If it is a Konoha ninja who doesn't know the truth, seeing me, the Konoha rebel who slaughtered the Uchiha clan, will definitely burst out with a powerful killing intent, even the Kakashi Sr. who once took me. Not to mention you, once a member of the Uchiha clan. However, I found out from the first meeting in Konoha 3 years ago that you are very different. Although you are strong, you never thought of killing me." Suga. Qin Yu nodded noncommittally, and then sighed in his heart. A great man from Uchiha's family, the reason why Uchiha Itachi is so popular is inseparable from his wisdom. Uchiha Itachi did not stop speaking, and his tone became calmer. "It's a bit ridiculous to say, at that time I thought you were too sharp and wanted to beat you up as a rising star. Unfortunately, this idea was ruthlessly shattered by you as soon as it came up. Now that 3 years have passed, your achievements prove that my original ideas were too naive, and even a terrible organization like Shao was ruined in your hands. As a Konoha ninja, Qin Yu, you are much better than me." However, the Shao organization, which he saw as unrivaled in his eyes, was deflated one after another in Qin Yu's hands. "I'm here this time to solve this matter," but soon, he found a new meaning for himself, that is, to use his life to become his brother. Moreover, because of the existence of the butterfly, Qin Yu, Itachi Uchiha came to death. This time, which is more calm and no worries than in the original book. So, for you and Sasuke, I have the utmost sympathy and understanding. You believe me, it will be a happy ending to everyone's satisfaction. Now, even the leader with the eyes of reincarnation has returned in a terrible defeat, and now he is even missing. What's more, the members of the organization were beheaded by him one after another." Qin Yu smiled directly and waved his hand, and said in a rare modest manner, "You don't need to say these compliments, and they don't make much sense to me." "Ha ha. In view of this situation, he had to work more carefully as a spy, but he was actually a bit pessimistic about the future of the ninja world. Speaking of this, as wise as him, as proud as him, a touch of reverence appeared in his eyes involuntarily. He used to be unable to stay in Konoha because of his rebellious identity after the extermination, and volunteered to follow the dangerous masked man as a spy. Over the years, he had become accustomed to the spy life, and the sudden destruction of Akatsuki's organization made his existence meaningless. Uchiha Itachi smiled bitterly and shook his head, and said bitterly, I understand your kindness, but after all, this matter started because of me, and I already have a plan in my heart. Moreover, with the passage of time, Akatsuki's displayed strength has become more and more terrifying, and even has the strength to destroy Konoha at any time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. I do know about the Uchiha clan, and I know all the details exactly. When he first learned the news, Itachi was a little confused. Chapter 232. Sasuke sent Qin Yu several advertisement. When Qin Yu heard this, it was straightforward to curl his lips and say to Itachi in a negative way, what you think of everyone's joy is just your own thoughts. Don't think I don't know what you think, I just want to bear all the infamy alone, and deliberately lose to Sasuke in the final duel, die under his sword, become a brother's hero, and let him return to the woods. Yi is loved and admired by all people, isn't it? Nani? Uchiha Itachi's pupils shrank suddenly, his face full of incredible. That's how you guys like to make decisions for others, and think that the decisions you make are the best decisions. At this time, Uchiha Itachi was shocked after Qin Yu told his heart. Since Uchiha Shisui's death, he has become more and more lonely and deep. He obviously did not expect that in this world, there are still people who can see through their own minds so clearly. You, how could you guess my thoughts? As Uchiha Itachi asked, a terrible thought came to mind. Could it be that your eyes can already see through people's hearts? Or in other words, they can see through the future? Qin Yu couldn't help but laugh a little when he heard the words, a little compelled to admire Itachi's brain replenishment ability. The brother control in front of him once said a very pretentious sentence to Sasuke, that is, with your riding wheel eyes, how far can you see? Unexpectedly, at this time, too deep into the play, he thought that Qin Yu could see through the future. However, in a sense it is also true. As a traverser, Qin Yu can indeed see through the future. It's an exaggeration to see through the future. Qin Yu looked at Uchiha Itachi in front of him, shook his head faintly, with an unpredictable face, and slowly said, however, I can see clearly about your past. I know who entrusted your will to you, and I also know why you destroyed the whole clan by yourself. Because I understand, I can fully judge what you will do next. Suga. Uchiha Itachi nodded, he was relatively more receptive to such a statement. You are indeed extraordinary. Many of my things are not even known to the third generation of Hokage and Danzo. I did not expect you to know so clearly. But, since you know my past, I don't understand, why are you stopping me? Isn't my approach a happy situation for everyone? Qin Yu shook his head, and then explained to Itachi Uchiha. It is true that Sasuke and Konoha have been fulfilled, but they have lost their lives. Do you think this can be regarded as a joy for everyone? Of course. Uchiha Itachi nodded his head mockingly, and said indifferently, I am a ninja scum who killed the whole clan and killed his father and mother. Now that the Akatsuki organization has been destroyed, Sasuke has grown up, and my mission has been completed. It's time to end. Qin Yu waved his hand directly at this time, interrupted Uchiha Itachi, and said, your mission is indeed accomplished, but why should all those who silently resist Konoha behind the scenes die in such humiliation? For everyone. Those who hold the salary must not be allowed to freeze to death in the wind and snow. Qin Yu suddenly remembered what Lan Xing said, and he said it directly in the blink of an eye. I don't use blue star quotations once or twice, but this time the effect is particularly good. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. When Uchiha Itachi heard the words, he could hear his eyes brightly, and he couldn't help muttering. Those who hold salaries for everyone, don't let them freeze to death in the wind. Freeze to death in the wind and snow. Advertisement. Unexpectedly, when I was about to die, it would be worthwhile to meet a bosom friend like you. At this time, Qin Yu rolled his eyes directly and said, why are you so stubborn? If you have said that you don't need to die, how can you still die? Uchiha Itachi shook his head, and continued to say to Qin Yu, Brother Jishui is the real salary for everyone, but he has not done anything excessive and has died. I am a Manchu with both hands. How can blood sinners survive? Fool. When Qin Yu heard this, the whole person almost laughed angrily. He smiled and retorted, the times have changed. Hearing this, Uchiha Itachi seemed to disagree with Qin Yu's statement. He still shook his head and continued. Even so, I cannot return to Konoha. The people of Konoha will not accept me. Furthermore, Sasuke has become extremely extreme under my influence. Once he tells him the truth of the year, he will definitely avenge Konoha. These are things I don't want to see. Qin Yu hooked the corner of his mouth and calmly said to Uchiha Itachi. I have already said that, the times have changed. Maybe you don't know yet, Danzo has been abolished by me, and is now a complete abolition, and the third generation and the two consultants have already left the center of power. Moreover, because of the excessive use of the kaleidoscope to write round eyes, my body is almost reaching its limit. Even if I don't die in the assistant, I won't live for long, and my eyes are also facing blindness. Seeing that Uchiha Itachi was in shock, Qin Yu spoke again and then said to Uchiha Itachi. As for Sasuke's problem, you don't have to worry about getting revenge on Konoha. After thinking too much, I slapped him and taught him how to behave. Rather than being seriously ill, blind and living in the world, I might as well give up my life to become Sasuke. Itachi was a little unbelievable. Whether it was his physical condition or eye problems, it was not a small problem. Although he had smoothed his thoughts, Uchiha Itachi slowly said, but even so, you don't need to save me. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. What? Uchiha Itachi's eyes flashed a deep shock, and his indifferent face was full of shock, and he said in shock. Danzo has become a useless person? And the missing Nagato was actually placed in Konoha by you? Hearing Qin Yu's words, Uchiha Itachi had no choice but to spread his hands. Okay. Between his precious brother and Qin Yu, there was at least a few differences between him. Danzo and Nagato, one is the root leader and the other is the leader of the Akatsuki organization. It can be said that they are the two most important people who brought up his life experience. Now, Qin Yu has directly solved it properly. You don't need to worry about other things. Even the leader of the Akatsuki Nagato organization can be placed in Konoha, let alone your brothers? These two secrets have had an unprecedented impact on him. After all, he had seen the battle just now. Looking at the begging weasel, Qin Yu waved his hand directly and said to him, what you said is not a problem with me. Can abolish Danzo, an elder-level figure, and place the unforgivable Shao organization leader in Konoha. Qin Yu, you have such energy? Chapter 233. Smart people are better to fool advertisement. Qin Yu calmly said to Uchiha Itachi at this time. You probably don't know, I not only have a kaleidoscope to write round eyes, but also Mu Dun. Do you know what Mu Dun is? Mu Dun, besides representing powerful destructive power, it also represents the purest vitality. With my strength, it is enough to extend your life for a long, long time. Not to mention that Konoha's 5th generation Naruto is currently the strongest medical ninja in the ninja world. Under her, it is hard for you to die. Nani? Mudden? Uchiha Itachi's face changed wildly. He didn't expect that until this time. Qin Yu still had a whole card. Moreover, it is still a super strong whole card like Mu Dun. As for Tsunade, Qin Yu said later, it was directly ignored by Itachi. Back then, Uchiha Madara and the first generation of Hokage, one relied on the eternal kaleidoscope, and the other relied on the wooden escape, standing at the top of the ninja world. Unexpectedly, today, decades later, someone can possess these two kinds of Zeon secret art at the same time. Even in the city of Itachi, it was still scared by the news. Qin Yu just smiled at Itachi's shock. This reaction was completely in his expectation. At this time, Qin Yu also continued to drop the heavyweight and continued to say to Uchiha Itachi. As for the problem of your blindness, it is not a problem. Huh? Uchiha Itachi was taken aback again. Qin Yu smiled slightly and continued to explain like, Uchiha Madara's legend of changing eyes, you must have heard of it. Yes. Hearing this, Itachi narrowed his eyes and nodded. So I originally wanted to leave my kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes to Sasuke after I die, to help him open the legendary eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes, and never have to worry about blindness anymore. Seeing this, Qin Yu glanced at him directly and said faintly, so, don't you think this arrangement is a bit wasteful? Waste? How could it? Itachi smiled and shook his head, and said in a caring tone of Sasuke. I am willing to do anything for Sasuke. Ha ha. Qin Yu smiled faintly, then waved his hand, and continued. I didn't expect that a wise guy like you would have such a silly side. It's really baffling. I mean, you gave Sasuke your kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes, let him open the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes, then his kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes? Isn't it a waste? Author dividing line, ahem, it is necessary to talk about the opening of the eternal kaleidoscope. Some people think that it is changing eyes, and some people think that it is fusion. The so-called fusion is the fusion of two pairs into one pair and upgrade. However, in the original work, whether it is Uchiha Madara or Uchiha Sasuke, the process of opening the eternal kaleidoscope clearly expresses whether it is fusion or simply changing eyes. Some people would say that when he brought Sasuke to change his eyes, he said that the fusion of pupil power takes a certain time, so fusion is not an eye change. However, the fusion of pupils and the fusion of eyes are not the same thing here. After all, according to Hokage's settings, the pupil power still exists without the eyes. For example, Madara opened Suzuo without eyes. In summary, this book uses a simple eye change. In other words, in theory, it is possible to create two pairs of eternal kaleidoscope writing wheels. The author finishes talking about the dividing line. How clever Uchiha Itachi was, and after hearing Qin Yu's words, he immediately reacted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Sasuke's kaleidoscope, what do you mean? Advertisement, talking to smart people is enjoyment. Qin Yu smiled and nodded, affirming the guess in Itachi Uchiha's heart, and said with certainty. Yes, that's what you think. You don't need to die, your brothers can live well. Moreover, you two brothers, with outstanding talents, and two pairs of eternal kaleidoscope writing round eyes, there's great hope for revitalizing the Uchiha clan in the future. This. Uchiha Itachi was dumbfounded when he heard it, his tall body trembling slightly. Before, his ambition to die was extremely firm, however, at this moment, his heart was completely moved. It is true that he does not like the arrogance of the Uchiha clan, but it cannot be said that he has no sense of belonging to the Uchiha clan at all. Just like the first generation of Hokage a few years ago, they are equally broad-minded and can calmly deal with the demise of the clan. However, when a family has the possibility of rejuvenation, they never want to give up. Also, if you can really live well, who wants to go to death? Indeed, Weasel had many reasons to die, but they were all overthrown by Qin Yu. Moreover, it is appropriate to make him completely ignorant of how to refute. At this time, Itachi was in absolute entanglement. 99% of his heart was shaken, but the remaining 1% was too firm. It can be said that his death ambition can be traced back to the death of Uchiha 8 years ago, and even Shisui's death 10 years ago. As early as 10 years ago, he had already had a mortal heart. Whether he is the heir of Shisui's woul or the sinner of the Uchiha clan, he insists on thinking that he must die. But Qin Yu knew this well, so he once again dropped a heavyweight, and continued to say to Uchiha Itachi, "Zga Itachi, you think you are very guilty, you should be your parents and the family pays for their lives. But your parents have always wanted you to live well." "What did you say?" Uchiha Itachi's pupil shrank suddenly and said excitedly, "My parents, how could you?" Qin Yu's lie had already been made up, and at this time he lied and said without blushing and heartbeat, "When Osnake Pill invaded Konoha, he fought me several times. One time, he summoned your parents to confront me with the technique of reincarnating from the filthy land. Before returning to the pure land, your parents told me everything with illusion and at the same time entrusted both of your brothers to me." A hole. When Uchiha Itachi heard the words, his face was as cold as frost, and he gritted his teeth angrily and cursed. Oshamaru was actually. He didn't doubt what Qin Yu said was true or false, because it sounded completely reasonable. Moreover, he felt that with Qin Yu's strength, there was no need to lie to him. Oshamaru. B**********D. Just because I once beheaded him, he actually played with my parents' souls. At this moment, Uchiha Itachi seemed to think of something, and asked tremblingly, "My parents? What did they say?" "What can I say?" Qin Yu shrugged directly and continued. "The couple who have been late for many years are still worried about your brothers. Compared to Sasuke, they feel more sorry for your eldest son. Although you are not on Uchiha's side, they still think you are their proudest son. Therefore, please me specifically, please I must stop the cannibalism between your brothers and protect your brothers well." The error-free chapters of I Signed In at Naruto and Become Stronger will continue to be updated on Sonoviction.com. There are no advertisements in the site. Please also collect and recommend Sonoviction. Chapter 234, Persecution Delusion Advertisement. When he said this, Qin Yu rarely put away his cynical attitude, his expression was rather solemn. The facts are exactly what Uchiha Qin Yu had guessed in his heart. After Uchiha Itachi had listened to Qin Yu's words, he had always been able to hide his emotions. At this moment, he was crying directly. The past, that sort of thing, that scene after scene. The sound and smile of his parents, the calmness of his parents before death, all came to his mind at this moment. Qin Yu stepped forward at the right time and came to Uchiha Itachi. Patting his shoulder, Qin Yu said directly to him indifferently, "A person cannot be resurrected from the dead. For you now, keeping one's body means fulfilling filial piety." When Uchiha Itachi heard the words, it was straightforward, and the whole person was in tears, shaking his head while nodding, looking extremely gaffy. After a long time, he slowly came back to his senses. Then, he gradually recovered completely, and muttered to Qin Yu in front of him, "Then, what should we do next?" "It's very simple." In contrast, Qin Yu shrugged very skillfully, looked at Uchiha Itachi in front of him, curled up his mouth and smiled and said, "Don't you like to play monthly reading? And I remember, you seem to have used the monthly reading to Sasuke more than once to see the extermination scenes. If this is the case, then in the following words, you will use another monthly reading to reproduce for him the causes and consequences of Uchiha's annihilation." "Nani?" Hearing Qin Yu's thoughts, Uchiha Itachi was shocked, and asked a little panic uncertainly, "That's not right. If the details of the entire incident are really revealed, according to Sasuke's character, I am afraid that he will resent Konoha. Although you can completely suppress him with your strength, it is not a long-term solution after all. Why? Why don't we think of a more secure method?" Qin Yu directly shook his head in response to this, and immediately said to Uchiha Itachi, "How can there be so many ways to get the best of both worlds in the world? He either hates you or Konoha, that's for sure." "It's true, I'm naive," Uchiha Itachi responded by Qin Yu's words. Obviously, he understands what Qin Yu said, but thinking of this, he couldn't help but frown, and asked Qin Yu, "But didn't you say before, can you handle it?" "Yes." Qin Yu shrugged noncommittal and continued confidently to Uchiha Itachi. "So, if you believe me, just do what I said and tell him all the truth. As for the rest, leave it to me and I will solve it." Hearing this, Uchiha Itachi stared straight at Qin Yu for a long time. He seemed to want to see if he could see the answer he wanted from Qin Yu's face. However, it was a pity that he couldn't see it after all. After a long time, Uchiha Itachi sighed deeply, and there was no other way in his mind. Now he can only choose to believe in the man in front of him. "Well, since you have chosen to believe in you, then believe in the end." When Qin Yu heard the words, he just smiled and nodded, and smiled confidently. "It should be so. My senior Nagato is like that. He chose to believe me, so he is doing very well in Konoha now." Seeing Qin Yu mention the leader of Akatsuki Nagato again, Itachi Uchiha shook his head helplessly. Immediately, he also sighed from the bottom of his heart. I didn't expect that Nagato and Konoha have such a relationship. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I never thought that he was also a disciple of Lord Jiraiya. Advertisement. With this sigh, Uchiha Itachi's confidence in Qin Yu seemed to rise again at this moment. Qin Yu no longer talked about it. He waved his hand and said to Uchiha Itachi, if that's the case, do it now. After Uchiha Itachi determined Qin Yu's plan, he nodded directly after hearing this. Immediately, he waved his hand directly, and in an instant, he had already lifted the monthly reading. Although the two people talked for a long time in the moon reading world, they didn't even arrive for a second in the outside world. At this moment, the poor two pillars were still tied to the stakes, and they were still struggling desperately. Seeing that the two suddenly looked at him at the same time, his heart suddenly became a little confused at this moment. Didn't these two just start to do it? Why did it suddenly stop again? And looking at me together? Look at me, dry hair? Many doubts lingered in Sasuke's mind, but no one explained him. At this time, Uchiha Itachi, looking at Sasuke who was struggling desperately despite the scars in front of him, a touch of distress flashed in his eyes. He took a deep breath in secret, and Zan even slowly walked towards Sasuke. Seeing the enemy who killed his parents walk towards him, Sasuke's pupils shrank suddenly. Immediately afterwards, his whole body trembled uncontrollably. Thick fear completely enveloped his heart at this moment. Now he has not only lost all the chakras, but even the most basic freedom. Today, in front of the enemy Uchiha Itachi, there is no possibility of resistance at all. As an avenger, he is not afraid of death. Not only is he unable to take revenge, even his kaleidoscope riding wheel will be taken away by the enemy. Similarly, he did not stop the finger that touched before. The two slender fingers kept zooming in his eyes. However, Uchiha Itachi at this time, he did not speak at this moment. And Qin Yu on the side was also embarrassed to die. This child, I am afraid that he is not a fool. He looked at the two fingers that were gradually approaching him, and he was constantly zooming in his eyes, and the whole person directly shouted at Qin Yu hysterically, Qin Yu. At this moment, fear, unwillingness, grief and anger. All kinds of emotions gathered together at this moment. Probably in his heart, this little action now is the most sincere and gracious connection between him and his brother Sasuke. Facing Sasuke's barren yelling, Itachi was a little surprised. Not only cannot revenge, but also complete the eternal kaleidoscope of the other party. In an instant, Sasuke went crazy. Seeing his fingers gradually approaching, Sasuke seemed to understand something. What are you thinking about every day? Is this the so-called paranoia of persecution? However, he was also unwilling to die like this. You are a Konoha ninja. You just watched it like this. Watching Uchiha Itachi, the B********** D Konoha rebel take my riding wheel eyes. Even more frightening is that Uchiha Itachi was facing him at this time and stretched out two fingers. Chapter 235. The Truth Advertisement. Seeing this, Qin Yu rolled his eyes. In his opinion, both of these brothers may be somewhat sick. Obviously, he could not take such extreme measures at the beginning, but he had to destroy the whole family by himself. Obviously, as long as you don't pretend to be forced, then you can live this life well. However, things backfired. As soon as the natal talent of this product is used to force the skill, it is necessary to force it all the way. Good guy, all the way I was pretending to be slapped in the face. Obviously these two goods are brothers, and nowadays there is a perfect scene of brother reconciliation. However, it's like this now, so he has to do it like he wants to kill a pig? Qin Yu sighed inwardly, a little speechless and helpless. He sighed directly and helplessly. What's the matter? This is the genius in Hokage. Most geniuses in Hokage have some problems in their minds. The final moment has arrived. In the sound of Uchiha Sasuke's howling like a pig, his brother Uchiha Itachi's two fingers have touched Uchiha Sasuke's forehead at this moment. Uchiha Itachi's two fingers lightly placed Sasuke's forehead. Almost for an instant, Uchiha Sasuke, who was screaming like a pig, suddenly stopped. Then, on his face, a variety of expressions began to transform. His expression first became frightened, followed by anger, then turned to shock, and finally completely turned into confusion. Obviously, this little action of Uchiha Itachi just now evoked various memories in his heart. In an instant, Uchiha Sasuke's originally dark eyes turned blood red in an instant. Qin Yu saw Uchiha Sasuke's reaction suddenly become so intense, and he couldn't help feeling full of emotion. Good guy, Itachi, such a simple action, did not expect that the lethality is so strong. No wonder, it's no wonder the kid Itachi insisted on doing so pretendingly. Sasuke's current appearance, this special effect, is almost the same as that of Teimo's opening of a round of writing. But I have to say that after coming to the world of Naruto, it seems pretty good to be able to see such a pretending action with my own eyes. But then, the good show should begin. The corner of Qin Yu's mouth raised slightly, as if he was ready to start looking forward to Uchiha Itachi's performance. At this time, Uchiha Itachi, who touched Sasuke's forehead, looked at Sasuke in front of him, and said to him indifferently, Sasuke, my stupid brother. Itachi, after being confused, Uchiha Sasuke screamed at Uchiha Itachi with those eyes red. Monthly reading. The moment Uchiha Sasuke's roar sounded, the kaleidoscope in Itachi Uchiha's eyes trembled. In an instant, the world in Sasuke's eyes began to change drastically. Originally, I was in Uchiha's ancestral land, but in a blink of an eye I actually came to a place that stunned me. Looking at the familiar Uchiha buildings around, it is obvious that this is Uchiha's residence in the wood industry. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Sasuke was taken aback for a moment, then his face was full of fear, and then he began to become angry and ferocious. Advertisement, a hole. Itachi Uchiha, UA*hole, what do you want to do? Looking at this familiar place, Sasuke couldn't help but fear in his heart for some reason. And hiding under that fear is very crazy anger. Sasuke, my stupid brother, haven't you always wondered why I did such a thing as killing the entire Uchiha clan? Uchiha Itachi looked indifferently at Uchiha Sasuke, whose eyes were flushed with red eyes and a grim face, and said indifferently, I'll show you the reason why you want to know. What do you mean? What do you mean? When Uchiha heard the words, Sasuke Uchiha was taken aback for a moment, and then he reacted. Looking at Uchiha Itachi, who had already disappeared in front of him, Sasuke Uchiha directly shouted on the spot, Itachi. However, at this moment, Uchiha Itachi, who was in his childhood, suddenly appeared in front of Uchiha Sasuke. Itachi. Seeing the sudden appearance of Uchiha Itachi in his childhood, Sasuke Uchiha was immediately furious. The whole person rushed towards Uchiha Itachi directly. As soon as he wanted to transport the chakra and then cast Thunder Run ninjutsu, Sasuke Uchiha realized that his chakra had been sucked up by Qin Yu just now. He was so anxious that he didn't think about it anymore, just squeezed his fist and swung it straight at Uchiha. However, facing Uchiha Sasuke's fist, Uchiha Itachi seemed to have never seen it before and did not even react at all. Call. Sasuke Uchiha's fist instantly hit the childhood Uchiha Itachi, but the moment it touched Itachi, Sasuke's fist penetrated through Itachi's body. After passing through Itachi's body, Sasuke Uchiha, who remained undiminished, took a short distance. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke reacted. What I faced just now turned out to be an illusion. My stupid brother, this is the truth you want to know. Just watch it slowly and see the whole story. Uchiha Itachi's voice suddenly rang in Sasuke's ears, as if everything that happened around him, including what Sasuke had done just now, was clear to him. Itachi. Sasuke Uchiha gritted his teeth and looked angrily and suffocated. Although he knew that everything that happened in front of him was an illusion, but because of the current exhaustion of chakra in his body, he could not use means to break the illusion. As Uchiha Sasuke watched what was gradually happening in front of him, he secretly began to recover the empty chakra. Gradually, as the scene continues to change, as things continue to happen, as Sasuke continues to understand the entire incident, the hatred for his brother Uchiha Itachi, unknowingly, began to slowly fade. When he understood everything completely, Sasuke's eyes again left 2 lines of blood and tears. These 2 lines of blood and tears were caused by Sasuke's anger when he saw that his parents were killed again, because he could not stop him. Wood industry. Danzo. High-level wood industry. With every time Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth, the flame of anger in his heart rose more and more. I want to destroy the wood industry. I want to avenge the Uchiha clan. Sasuke looked at the bloody clan in front of him and immediately roared. At this time, Sasuke has perfectly transferred his hatred to the wood industry. For the wood industry, he now only wants to destroy it. Chapter 236. The Meaning of Father and Mother Advertisement. Just when Sasuke got into madness because he learned the truth, Uchiha Itachi, who had not been seen in the moon reading world, appeared again. I won't let you destroy Konoha. Uchiha Itachi suddenly appeared in front of his younger brother Uchiha Sasuke, looking at Sasuke, who was full of madness and 2 lines of blood and tears, as affectionate as before. Itachi. Do you think you can stop me? Sasuke Uchiha looked at Uchiha Itachi with a grim face and roared, I am not the weak me before. Uchiha Itachi shook his head with a sneer from the corner of his mouth, and said to his stupid brother Uchiha Sasuke. My stupid brother. You are still as naive as ever. Do you think that with your current strength, you can really defeat me? Furthermore, even if you really defeat me, you can destroy Konoha Shinobu village? Have you forgotten that there is still a person in Konoha, someone you can't defeat? Uchiha helped listen to his brother Uchiha Itachi's words, and his thoughts moved along with his words. Suddenly, a figure suddenly appeared in his mind. And that person is Konoha's ninja, the only remaining member of the Uchiha clan Qin Yu Uchiha. As Uchiha Itachi's voice fell, Sasuke's pupils suddenly shrank. The figure that was in his mind was finally completely clear at this moment. Qin Yu. Yuzebo. Qin Yu. The crazy color on Uchiha Sasuke's face has not diminished, but has become more intense. Although on the surface, his heart is full of fear and powerlessness at this moment. That was facing Qin Yu's fear, because he could truly send himself the feeling of death. At the same time, it was also powerless against Qin Yu, because as far as he knew, he wanted to defeat Qin Yu in strength unless he could possess the strength of his ancestor Uchiha Madara. In Sasuke's view, Qin Yu today is really too strong. Unless Uchiha Madara returns to the world, no one should be able to defeat him in a single-to-one call. However, Sasuke has always been pretending to be forceful. How could he not pretend to be forceful now? For him, pretending to be a career in his life. Sasuke, let go of your hatred, come back to Konoha with me. It seems that seeing Uchiha Sasuke's crazier face, Uchiha Itachi's original indifferent voice also began to show a trace of emotion. Humph. Sasuke Uchiha looked at Itachi Uchiha coldly and said coldly, let go of hatred, go back to Konoha? Are you afraid that you were joking with me? Sasuke shouted. Konoha killed my family and destroyed my people, but you want me to return to Konoha? Do you think that's possible? Maybe. Uchiha Itachi looked at his brother Uchiha Sasuke indifferently, and continued to say indifferently. Because this is what father and mother mean. What? Uchiha Sasuke's eyes suddenly widened, and a pair of eyes stared directly at Uchiha Itachi. What did you say? As if feeling that he hadn't heard clearly just now, Uchiha Sasuke asked Uchiha Itachi again. I said, let you put down your hatred and follow me back to Konoha. This is the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, which is the common meaning of both father and mother. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Uchiha Itachi's indifferent words suddenly exploded in Uchiha Sasuke's heart like a thunder. Advertisement, no. Impossible. My father and mother have been dead for many years, how would they know that they had betrayed Konoha, and how would they know that they were going to destroy Konoha? However, his elder brother, Itachi Uchiha, told himself that this was what his father and mother meant. This is clear, it is clearly Uchiha Itachi who is doing countless things. His purpose is one, and that is to trick me back to Konoha. Correct. It must be so. The more Sasuke thought about it, the firmer this idea became in his heart. Staring at Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke gritted his teeth and shouted, "Ehole, Uchiha Itachi, don't lie to me. My father and mother have been dead for many years, how did he know that I had convicted Konoha, and how did he know that I was going to destroy Konoha? All of this is clearly made up by yourself, and the purpose is to trick me into returning to Konoha, so as to accept Konoha's sanctions. I won't let you succeed." How fast Uchiha Sasuke's brain turned, it took almost a blink of an eye, and he compared what Uchiha Itachi said. Moreover, even taking this brain supplementation as a fact. Kaleidoscope. Open. Illusion. Break. In an instant, Sasuke Uchiha, who had originally blood-red eyes, opened the kaleidoscope to write the wheel in an instant. The Guyu writing round eyes are connected to each other, instantly forming the shape of a four-cornered windmill. Driven by Uchiha Sasuke's pupil power, the kaleidoscope writing round eyes instantly shattered the surrounding fantasy space. Originally from the beginning, Sasuke really learned to be smart. He knew that he was caught in the illusion, and the chakra in his body was exhausted, and he could no longer solve the illusion through the chakra. Therefore, he regained his pupil power in secret. When his pupil power was restored enough to open the kaleidoscope, he was waiting for an opportunity to crack the illusion. And just now, in Sasuke's view, it was obviously the time. However, Sasuke didn't know that there was actually a reason for his success in cracking the illusion this time. First of all, Uchiha Itachi's monthly reading this time was mainly for restoring the truth of the year, not for anything else, so he didn't use a lot of pupil power when constructing it. Secondly, that is because the person who is trapped in the monthly reading space is his younger brother who is about to let go of his previous suspicions, so he also has reservations. Finally, it is because Sasuke has exhausted chakra now, and even his pupil power has also been exhausted, which is not enough to use the kaleidoscope to write round eyes, so he faces his own illusion monthly reading. It is almost incomprehensible. It was these conditions that caused Itachi to relax his vigilance. This also led to the fact that the moon reading space was easily cracked by Sasuke's kaleidoscope writing wheel. As soon as the illusion space was cracked, the surrounding space was directly shattered like a mirror. As soon as the moon reading space was lifted, Sasuke realized that he didn't even move at all in the same place. Even Uchiha Itachi still maintained the same posture at this time. It seems that a long time has passed in the moon reading space just now, but in this reality, it has not changed at all as before. Chapter 237. Ninjutsu to resurrect the dead. Advertisement. As soon as he returned to the real world, Sasuke reacted immediately. I saw Sasuke suddenly turn sideways, and then the whole person turned to the side and there was a donkey rolling. After getting up embarrassed, Sasuke looked at Uchiha Itachi in front of him very vigilantly. However, his eyes were more, but Qin Yu stared closely at Itachi Uchiha. In his eyes, Qin Yu was the most terrifying person among the people he had encountered so far. However, Qin Yu on the side didn't say much when he saw Sasuke's sudden reaction. Even his face has no other expressions. Qin Yu looked at Uchiha Sasuke who was rolling and hiding aside as a donkey, with some curiosity in his heart that looked like Uchiha Itachi, and asked, "What's the situation? And looking at you like this, isn't this moon reading ninjutsu you used to be cracked?" At the moment when Sasuke broke the illusion technique, Qin Yu was very clear about the fluctuation of the illusion technique. Therefore, Qin Yu is also very curious about this. What is the situation? Uchiha Itachi was also a little embarrassed, nodding awkwardly on his indifferent face, and said, "I'm careless." Qin Yu didn't say much anymore, and directly asked Uchiha Itachi to get to the point. "Did you make it clear about the matter? Does he understand the truth?" "Yeah." Uchiha Itachi nodded when he heard the words. "Then it seems that he is like this, he doesn't believe me." Qin Yu turned his eyes, and looked like Uchiha Sasuke who was hurrying to recover chakra and Hitomi. Itachi nodded again, confirming Qin Yu's statement. "That's okay, then let me be reasonable with him." The corner of Qin Yu's mouth twitched, looking in the direction of Sasuke, and then his body instantly disappeared in place. The moment Qin Yu disappeared, Sasuke's whole body instantly collapsed. In an instant, Qin Yu's figure suddenly appeared beside Sasuke. Sasuke's pupils shrank suddenly, and his body immediately assumed a defensive-offensive posture. "What? Itachi told you the truth, don't you go back to Konoha with me?" Qin Yu looked at Uchiha Sasuke playfully and asked. Humph. Sasuke looked at Qin Yu, gritted his teeth and said after a cold snort, Qin Yu, don't talk about dreams. If you want me to return to Konoha, you are dreaming. Konoha killed me Uchiha, I and Konoha are inconsistent, do you think I will return to Konoha? I tell you Qin Yu, I will destroy Konoha and Konoha Ninja Village, and I will kill Konoha's senior leaders and all the participants back then. No one can stop my heart of revenge, even if it is as strong as yours, Qin Yu, it is impossible. Qin Yu shook his head and said in his heart, this child feels really hopeless. Although I thought so in my heart, I didn't say it on the surface. Didn't Itachi tell you, asking you to return to Konoha, that's what the patriarch of your Uchiha clan said, this is what your father said. Qin Yu's words once again set off a storm in Sasuke's heart. Even so, he did not believe it at all. Nonsense, Qin Yu, you be *******d. You are unforgivable for taking my father and the long-dead patriarch of the Uchiha clan as an example. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Sasuke stared at Qin Yu angrily, his eyes full of anger. Advertisement he couldn't forgive Qin Yu for using his father as an example. Haha. Qin Yu smiled directly after hearing this. He looked like Sasuke in front of him, and said confidently and pompously, do you think I'm joking? Do you think I'm deceiving you? After so many years of practicing outside, I didn't expect your horizons to be as limited as before. What did you say? Sasuke gritted his teeth angrily. Isn't it? Qin Yu shook his head, looked at Uchiha Sasuke in front of him, and continued. Do you think I'm talking nonsense? I'm telling you, your father, Uchiha Tomotaki, the last patriarch of the Uchiha clan, personally entrusted me to send you these words. When Qin Yu said this, he was completely serious. With such a serious expression, coupled with the meaning of the sentence itself, Uchiha Sasuke was immediately taken aback. Even Jiraiya, who was originally just watching a play, was stunned by hearing it directly. What is the situation with Nima? Hasn't this Uchiha Tomotaki been belching for many years? How could he have something to do with Qin Yu? What is happening? Why am I a little dizzy? However, among the few people present, Itachi Uchiha was the only one who was very calm. Because Qin Yu had already told him when he was in the moon reading space before. Therefore, when he heard about it this time, he wouldn't be as gaffy as they did. Sasuke Uchiha stared at Qin Yu in front of him with wide eyes, and the flames in his heart burned even more. He didn't believe what Qin Yu said. Sasuke, I forgot to tell you one thing. Qin Yu looked like Uchiha Sasuke in front of him, and with a pinch of his hands, he took out a roll of seal scrolls from the shinobu bag. Uchiha Itachi did not answer, but quietly nodded to Jiraiya. That being the case, his father was already dead, and how could a person who has died know what will happen in the future, and how could he see him again and trust him? Jilai was also taken aback, and then he was shocked, and said, you mean, reincarnating from the filthy soil? Qin Yu didn't believe Sasuke's eyes at all, and he didn't want to explain any more at this time. Not bad, just as you think, your father has been dead for so many years? And he died in front of his eyes, he was very sure. Nani? Sasuke was really frightened. Qin Yu heard the words and understood that Itachi knew what he wanted to do, and immediately confirmed his doubts. Qin Yu unrolled the seal scroll and tremblingly said to Sasuke, I will use ninjutsu to bring the dead back to life. Even Jiraiya was full of curiosity at this moment, but also full of doubts in his head. I saw him speak again and said to the Uchiha Sasuke in front of him, since you don't believe it, then I will let your father and your mother come and tell you in person. And all this nonsense is to deceive himself to return to Konoha with him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. He wants to resurrect the dead, Itachi replied. In summary, what Qin Yu said was all nonsense. Qin Yu, at this moment, Uchiha Itachi seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly said to Qin Yu, do you mean? Itachi, what does Qin Yu want to do? Jilai also came to Itachi at this moment and asked curiously. Chapter 238. Tomotaki, Mikoto, advertisement, what are you talking about? Sasuke's heart trembled suddenly, and his pupils couldn't help but shrink. Next, keep your eyes open and watch it. As soon as Qin Yu's voice fell, his hands immediately formed a handprint on the seal scroll unfolding on the ground. With a sound of pung, the seal scroll suddenly emitted white smoke. With the appearance of white smoke, two sturdy white nepenthes tied together appeared in the white smoke. And this is exactly the spore of Baiju, a member of Akatsuki's organization. Seeing this, Uchiha Itachi's brows that had been frowning unconsciously also relaxed. Although he has never seen the reincarnation of the dirty soil, he has heard of it. But to reincarnate from the dirty soil, it requires sacrifices of creatures. If Qin Yu abuses people in order to perform this ninjutsu, Uchiha Itachi seems to be unsatisfied in his heart. But now that he saw the spores of Baiju, who was once a member of Akatsuki's organization, as a sacrifice, he didn't care at all. Not why can Baiju be considered a human being? And even if Baiju could be considered a human being, he was not innocent. And Jilai on the side was full of curiosity when he saw that Qin Yu was about to perform the ninjutsu of unclean rebirth. I saw that his eyes were staring at Qin Yu tightly, as if he didn't want to miss all his next actions. As if knowing that he has become the focus of attention at this moment, Qin Yu's mouth twitched slightly. After he released Baiju from the seal scroll, his hands began to form handprints quickly. Resurrection of undead ninjutsu, reincarnation of dirty land. This time, in order to pretend to be coercive, Qin Yu had deliberately added a few words directly in front of the reincarnation of the dirty soil. The author has something to say. There is a bug here, and that is the problem of this resurrection medium. The ninjutsu of reincarnated dirty land not only requires sacrifices from the living, but also requires some of the flesh and blood of the deceased as a medium in order to be successful. In the original book, the one who was reincarnated from the dirty soil was not the one who stole the body from the grave. And asking for their corpses is to use the flesh and blood of his corpse as the medium of resurrection. But I don't have it here, so you have the right to do it. After all, Uchiha Fudike has been belching for so long, and no one knows where the body is. The author is finished. After Qin Yu's last seal fell, the two white spores in front of Qin Yu suddenly trembled. This kind of tremor is the kind of unnatural tremor. Their bodies began to twist, and then they became more and more intense. After a while, under the two of them, the countless white debris scattered because of the distortion suddenly gathered into pieces of paper. The pieces of paper began to fly up, and then they were attached to Baiju Spore's body. When the two white spores were completely covered by a piece of paper, the two figures began to change. In a blink of an eye, two people wearing family clothes unique to the Uchiha clan appeared. The two were a man and a woman, Uchiha Tomitaki and Uchiha Makoto. This is. Uchiha Tomitaki took the lead to recover, looking at Qin Yu in front of him, questioning. Are we alive again? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yeah, to be precise, I let you live again for the time being. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows and said, I have already conveyed what you told me to convey before, so there is no way people will not believe it. Advertisement, so, I will let you resurrect yourself to communicate with your baby son. Qin Yu looked at Uchiha Tomitaki and Uchiha Makoto in front of him, and said with a smile. If you can't make sense, then don't blame me. From these few conversations, it can be seen that Qin Yu has been in contact with Uchiha Tomitaki and Uchiha Makoto before. That's right, Qin Yu knew that there would be such a day before. At the same time, he also considered some things that would happen now, so he had once reincarnated in front of the two people. And in this regard, I also told the two people about this situation. In response to this situation, the two also worked out such a case. I see. Uchiha Tomitaki nodded, and Uchiha Makoto, who was next to him, also looked at Qin Yu gratefully. No, people are behind you. Qin Yu swallowed his mouth and gestured to the direction behind the two of them. Seeing this, Uchiha Tomitaki and Uchiha Makoto turned around one after another. After turning around, the two of them saw the grown-up brothers Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. Itachi. Sasuke. Seeing her son right in front of her, Uchiha Makoto's eyes were suddenly filled with excitement and tears. Mother. Originally, Sasuke was completely froze when he saw his parents come back to life again. And now, when he heard the call of his mother Uchiha Makoto, he gradually became agitated from froze. Father. Mother. Compared to Uchiha Sasuke's excitement, Uchiha Itachi is calmer and has some guilt. After all, my father and mother were killed by myself. You two brats. Although the two of us are dead, we don't know anything. Compared with Uchiha Makoto, Uchiha Tomitaki is very serious and direct. He was very clear about the meaning of what Qin Yu said to him just now. Therefore, although he was very happy and excited in his heart, he had to settle the matter first. Sasuke, I specifically confessed that this kid Qin Yu told you what I said, don't you believe it? What? Can anyone dare to fake my words? Or, what else do you want to do? Uchiha Tomitaki glared at Sasuke with a serious face and questioned him loudly. Sasuke didn't know what to say at this moment. Since childhood, although he has been favored by his father and mother, he is also very scared of his father and mother. There is no reason for him, just because of the two of them. When they hurt him, it hurts to death. But when it needs to be taken seriously, it is also merciless and even more severely punished. Perhaps the control over the tribe is not strict, nor can it be strictly disciplined. But for his family, Uchiha Tomitaki is directly very majestic. Sasuke, my child, let everything go. At this moment, Uchiha Makoto also spoke. I saw him looking at his two sons with tearful eyes, and persuading Sasuke. The things that happened back then were Konoha's instructions and decisions, but without our acquiescence, you think you really rely on your brother Itachi? Can that thing be done easily? We have never opposed all this. Chapter 239. Now do you understand? Advertisement, Nani. Hearing what his mother Uchiha Makoto said, Sasuke Uchiha, who was the second pillar, was stupid. What does it mean? Could it be that Konoha's patriarchal father and mother agreed to Konoha's genocide plan? Sasuke Uchiha didn't quite believe it, but he stared at his eyes in shock, and immediately looked like Uchiha Itachi on the side. From Sasuke's eyes, Uchiha Itachi is not difficult to see his confusion. Although what his mother Uchiha Makoto said is true, Uchiha Itachi is still a little unbelievable. But even if it was unbelievable, Uchiha Itachi would not accept it. This is a fact that has already been confirmed. At this time, Uchiha Itachi, when he heard his mother Uchiha Makoto say so, his original indifferent and unwavering face showed guilt and pain at this moment. And in this guilt and pain, there is even more confusion and disbelief. Obviously, he also confirmed what his mother said. And Uchiha Sasuke, after seeing the expression on Uchiha Itachi's face, he also understood that his mother did not deceive himself. Although he understood, he couldn't accept it. He could not accept this matter, nor could he accept the truth. No, I don't believe it, Sasuke Uchiha said loudly, denying what his mother said. Huh, at this time, Uchiha Tomodachi snorted coldly, and then said seriously to his second son, Uchiha Sasuke. You don't believe it? Why? Do we still need to lie to you? Do you think that with your brother Itachi alone, you can slaughter the entire Uchiha clan overnight in a calm manner? Are you a rubbish when you were the Uchiha clan? Are you rubbish when you were the patriarch of the Uchiha clan? Or in other words, do you think Itachi's strength at that time has reached the strength that can silently destroy the whole family overnight? Have you never thought about these questions? Uchiha Tomodachi questioned Uchiha Sasuke loudly. His voice was very serious, and at the same time he was a little bit angry and dissatisfied. When Uchiha Itachi saw his father's serious words, although he wanted to say something, he didn't say much in the end. He knew that this was just for his father to make Sasuke realize the reality. At the same time, it was for him to let go of everything so that he could return to Konoha and start again. As soon as Uchiha Tomodachi's words fell, Sasuke Uchiha was stunned. Sasuke Uchiha was stunned, his entire head dizzy. However, not to mention others, even the Jiraiya on the side was also bewildered by this dramatic truth at this time. He never expected that the Uchiha clan would be annihilated overnight, and Uchiha Fudake, who was the patriarch at the time, would have participated. But after saying this, he finally figured it out. At that time, the Uchiha clan directly occupied half of Konoha. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Just such a super big clan, not only has a large number of people, but even the strength is extremely powerful. Advertisement. And at that time, when he was executing this Konoha high-level extermination plan, how old was Uchiha Itachi as the executor? And at that age, what strength did his strength reach? It seems that when the clan was exterminated, Uchiha Itachi's strength had just become the strength of Shinin. And by virtue of the strength of this mere newly promoted Shangnin, in this powerful Uchiha clan lieutenant generals, veteran Shangnin, elite Shangnin, penumbra-level powerhouses and even other Uchiha tribesmen were killed overnight. Moreover, the killer was so silent, how powerful it was to be able to do it. From the perspective of Zhi Yi, at least the strength of a shadow-level powerhouse is needed. In terms of facts, with the strength of Jiraiya nowadays, he couldn't guarantee that he would destroy the Uchiha clan at the time. Not to mention, this extermination still needs to be done silently and overnight. Unexpectedly, the key to the extermination of the clan was Uchiha Tomodachi, who was the patriarch at that time. Why? Sasuke's eyes were no longer the craziness and anger before. At this moment, his face is full of confusion, and even his eyes are also full of confusion. Why? Why is this? Can any of you tell me why? Sasuke looked at his mother, his father, and even looked like his brother. Say you stupid, you are still smart sometimes. Say you are smart, why are you so stupid? At that time, the Uchiha clan will also be destroyed. Even in Uchiha's clan, there are secret plans to overthrow or even destroy Konoha's Hokage faction. Because of you, or more prepared, for you and brother Itachi. At this time, Qin Yu, who had never spoken before, suddenly spoke. Furthermore, at that time, although your father Uchiha Tomodachi was the head of the clan at the time, he did not have much power in the clan. It was the elders in the clan who really held the real power. Don't forget how sharp the contradiction between the Uchiha clan and Konoha's Naruto faction was at that time. The error-free chapters of I Signed In at Naruto and Become Stronger will continue to be updated on sonofiction.com. There are no advertisements in the site. Please also collect and recommend Sonofiction. Do you know what this means? Qin Yu looked at Sasuke, shook his head and continued, this means that the Uchiha clan is about to launch a rebellion. And this is also the condition put forward by Itachi as the implementer of the plan at that time, and it is also the reason why Patriarch Fuyue is willing to help Itachi. For me. And Itachi? Sasuke didn't understand, he didn't understand Qin Yu's meaning, and asked in confusion, what do you mean? In this kind of coup, if it succeeds, the Uchiha clan will inevitably suffer severely. At that time, the other ninja villages who covet the Uchiha clan's blood will inevitably come to excuse and even directly start war. Now, do you understand? And the arrival of this Uchiha plan to destroy the clan has brought a clear path to the then Uchiha Tomoyaki patriarch. In other words, the Uchiha clan intends to coup and seize the power of Konoha Shinobu. He was listening to these people who couldn't talk about it for a long time, and the whole person was a bit boring and speechless. In order to end all this quickly, he can only speak appropriately to speed up the progress. Help your son Uchiha Itachi and reverse the operation to destroy the Uchiha clan. This will not only leave the Uchiha clan with a good reputation, but also protect you and Itachi. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. And if the coup fails, then you should be aware of the consequences. All of you will be executed and you will be charged with treason.